Good evening and welcome to the April 28th, 2025 Board of Select Persons meeting. Please join me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I look for a motion to approve the April 22nd, 2025 meeting minutes.
So moved. Second.
Motion in a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor? And I will be abstaining as I was not here. Motion to accept the warrants.
So moved. Second it.
Motion in a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
I am opposing, yes.
Okay. Would somebody read the announcements?
Okay. The next semi-sesquicentennial meeting for the town's 250th anniversary will be Wednesday, April 30th at 6 p.m. at the fire station. Please reach out to Lisa LePage for more information, or please attend the next meeting. You may reach her at 651-1594 or llepage6@yahoo.com. The Select Board will meet on Monday, May 5th at 7 p.m. The Planning Board will meet on Wednesday, May 7th at 7 p.m. And the Appeals Board has one vacant seat to fill. Please reach out to the Select Board admin if interested at 793-4475. As a reminder, if you are speaking at any meeting, please go to the microphone so everyone will be able to hear. As part of the hearing of citizens policy, no personal attacks on any individual firm, including town employees, town officials, or members of the public will be tolerated during any meetings. Please direct concerns about individual employees or town officials to the chairman of the Board of Select Persons outside the public meeting. Please stay current with town information by visiting www.limerickme.org. And public notice, Town of Limerick. The Limerick Zoning Board of Appeals will review an administrative appeal application by Ernest Pakakowitz, I don't know, for consideration of a second expansion to the porch area at 223 Waycross Way in Limerick. The board will hold a site walk at 223 Waycross Way at 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday, May 6th. The public hearing will commence thereafter at 7 p.m. in the media room of the municipal building at 55 Washington Street, Limerick, Maine. Stephen McLean, Chair, Limerick Zoning Board of Appeals. And this is from the Limerick Library, Enhancing Your Soil's Potential, Saturday, May 3rd, 10 to 11 in the library meeting room. Join Wendy Mickle as she explores the amazing interconnectedness of the life of your soil and learn how microorganisms work together to create rich, fertile soil and reduce and eliminate the needs for fertilizer and pesticides.
Thank you. Next. Oh,
I'm sorry. I wanted to back up to the warrants a little bit, but they've already been approved, so.
Is there something that needs to be addressed, though?
Well, I mean, the road commissioner has a warrant with 3 people on it. He has himself and a couple other guys all work that they did fine. The foreman had hours for yourself as foreman. That's payroll. That should go in as payroll. None of that money was taxed. It went in as equipment. So his hours went in as equipment hours, and there were no taxes withheld on it. That means there was no workman's comp paid on it. I don't know if, I think that we asked that these be out early for us to look at. I came up earlier today to look at them, and there are twice as many here now. So again, gives us just a few minutes to try to look at them, but you approved a warrant where we had somebody perform labor and it wasn't taxed properly. There's a bill for diesel fuel that's under supplies. There's 2 bills for Spectrum that I guess were kind of figured out today, but I don't know how we can continue to vote yes when there's constant issues. And in reality, we don't even know how much money we have for any of these accounts. But they've been voted on, they've been passed. It's water under the dam at this point, I guess. Can figure out why the payroll didn't get taxed.
All right, next I have department reports. Chief Pelletier.
So March, fire EMS report, we had a total calls, 64 calls in March, bringing our annual total as of today to 221 calls. With the 64, we had 10 fire calls, 4 of those were mutual aid to other towns. EMS, we had 52 calls, 12 of those were mutual aid to other communities, and we had 3 calls that were both fire and EMS, such as car accidents. Members, professional development. We have 1 current member that has completed his EMT class, waiting to test for licensing. We have 1 new member who has completed his class and is licensed as a basic EMT. This is a younger Limerick person that joined the department recently, so.
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
There's no sound. I'm getting messages that people are not getting sound. On Google? TV.
On TV.
On TV. But it's going through on YouTube? Okay.
Sorry. Sorry.
No, you good? You want me to keep going, or?
Um,
Sing a little song for you, Charlie.
I've just told the people to go to YouTube. It messes
yeah,
me.
I would say yes. It'll be recorded. And, yeah.
Okay. So continuing on, member of professional development, the second member that recently took EMT has passed and has got licensed as a basic EMT. It's a young member of the community that joined the department and is going to work towards getting firefighter certifications as well. We have 2 members that are currently enrolled in an advanced EMT program. They're starting next month, so that'll give us a couple more ALS level providers. And we have another younger person that moved to town recently, joined the fire department, is just about ready to finish up his firefighter training with the York County Fire Academy. I'm hoping he'll go down the EMS road after, so we're continually getting good numbers of people and getting certifications up there, so we're moving in a good direction. Staffing, shifts for May are filled. April is filled as well. The brush truck project, that's pretty much complete now. It's had a couple brush fires in the last 2 weeks. Performed well. It's meeting the need exactly how we designed it to be used. With that project being done, we were just right at budget, just under budget barely for the $90,000 that we had allocated to complete that project. The fire station, we're coming up on the 1-year mark, so we're still clicking away at punch list items, working with our project manager from Great Falls. So we have a few items, nothing major that we need to close the loop on before June. Saturday, May 10th, we're going to be conducting live fire training right here on Washington Street, 62 Washington Street. It was a property donated by the new owner of that property. We're looking to do live fire training for our members, and at the end of the day, we'll burn the house to the ground. So we've gone through the process that we have to go through to meet all legalities and requirements. So we did have the DEP did a site visit. We had 5 inspectors from the DEP. We had a air quality person, solid waste, water quality, hazardous materials, and asbestos rep. They looked over the property. They kind of guided us to what we need to do to meet the rules and be able to train in that building. So we actually have the inspector coming out tomorrow. It's the final step, final hurdle is just get the asbestos inspected if there's any, and if there is, then we'll have to cross that bridge with the owner. But the rep from the DEP was very confident there's no asbestos, but we still need to get the documentation done and surveyed by a licensed asbestos person. So it's all part of the process. Ambulance billing account came up a few times the last few weeks. I just want to touch on that quickly. As stated, there's about $800 in that account. We've been averaging just about $200,000 a year for the last 4 years, 3 to 4 years, or upper 175 to 200 is probably, we're getting closer to 200. We've been over 1 or 2 years. So call volume is pretty steady. The increase we've seen in the last few years is due to the staffing we have. We're covering our own calls. We're not relying on other departments coming in, doing medical calls, and also receiving that revenue. So we're collecting most of our own revenue, and we've had call members, especially in the last year and a half to 2 years, catching second calls on occasion, getting the second ambulance out the door, picking up second run, so that helps the situation. And the other piece, probably the biggest piece, that why revenue has increased quite a bit in the last couple of years, is our Blue Cross contract. We renegotiated that 2 years ago, and that was a pretty significant increase to what we actually take in. So out of that money, all it really is paid currently. When we voted on the new fire station, the citizens voted to pay down the principal on the loan by $25,000 a year out of ambulance billing, which brings down, saves on interest, obviously. Wendy Thorne actually did some calculations, and it should knock that 30-year note down to 21 years just by putting that $25,000 a year down. So I think that's a fair balance. I know people had some thoughts or ideas and maybe digging in that a little more, but I think $25,000 is finding that balance of helping the cause and not cutting ourselves short for the future. We will most likely be coming to the voters in November. We're due for new ambulance. There's about a 2-year wait on those, so we have to get that ball rolling. That's probably going to be somewhere between $400,000 and $500,000. And then we look out a little further, probably in 27, our tanker will be about 27 years old, so we'll be looking to replace that. That is probably a $600,000 to $700,000 bill. So it's good to have that money there. I think the original intent of that fund being set up is doing exactly what it was designed to do. So grants. We have a couple grants we've been spending. Our EMS grant was $15,000. That was through Maine EMS to stabilize EMS post-pandemic, essentially. Limerick received $15,000. We're looking to close out the last year grant. We've managed to spend every penny of that $15,000. We found things to utilize that on. Some of the things we did with last year's money, we paid full tuition or partial tuition for 2 basic EMTs to up their license level to advanced EMT. We put 13 of our fire department members through ice rescue technician training, which is huge for our town. We now have an ice rescue, cold water rescue team. We bought a bunch of equipment. We replaced a bunch of EMS bags on both of the ambulances. We purchased the ice rescue suits, helmets, and life jackets, the rescue ropes and associated hardware for ice rescue, and got a new charging system for the batteries that power up our cardiac monitors and our stretchers. So it was all things we needed, and came at no cost to our community, came through the state. So the second grant we're working to close out, we're going to close this one out by June, was a Maine forestry grant. It was about $6,500. This grant was a 50% match, so we're going to throw in a little over $3,000. The state will match that. The EMS grants are not matched. Those are zero match grants, $15,000 with no match on our part. Forestry is 50%, so we got a little over $3,000 we'll put in. Some of the equipment we got with that grant was a portable fire pump, 600 feet of forestry hose, 8 coats and helmets, 5 nozzles, and 6 portable backpack pumps. So stuff we needed to update or replace. So good use of that money. And the last grant that I'll speak of is the 2025 EMS grant. The state is doing the same stabilization funding for EMS departments around the state, and we are earmarked for $15,000. So Deputy Welsh submitted that application today, so hopefully we'll be receiving that in the next few weeks, and we'll continue to update and modernize our equipment and get the stuff we need to provide good service. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
and Judy.
Good evening, folks, and thank you for your time. In regards to what John said about the warrants were, as replied for, have been requested to be in Alicia's office by Friday. They were. I called all the selectmen or left messages except for Brady, because Brady was out of town. The only ones that I added before I left at 1:30, because I had a legal matter with the town of Standish, was that I've added Ricky's for his work that he'd done that week, which we've done since I've been here, and also when Vinnie brought over his bills. Those are the only bills that I added to the stack that you saw for this morning, John. And if it was the taxes, Ricky's bill shows half of his bill goes through payroll, half of it goes through payables. And the MRI takes care of the payroll, and there's taxes taken out of it. We don't take taxes out of equipment on uses of equipment. And that's the way I've been shown how to do it since I've been here to doing it back when your prior road commissioner went. So I send a picture to MRI and I put the bill into paid. Laura finished the payables for me. I couldn't be here. I had told you folks that I had a meeting to do and I hadn't be there, and it lasted quite long on the property lines. So I apologize for that.
So you pay the full hours, and then somebody else handles the taxes?
We pay the hours that the gentlemen work labor-wise. We pay the hours times the hours of equipment. That's the way that I did it. I
For the
didn't.
equipment?
Yes, sir.
But what about labor hours?
Labor hours goes through payroll.
Well, how come he was paid labor hours in his equipment check?
That I'd have to look at. It shouldn't have been, and I was not here when it got entered. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I trusted somebody that had been doing the payroll for over 20 years, so I can't do that. And in regards to your figures, I had quite a long discussion with Trio this week, and I know Judy's going to speak on it as well. Anastasia, before she left, we have through MMA what they call a listserv, and you can reach out to other towns and ask questions, and Anastasia sent out one, and it came back that 3 towns answered us with numerous problems with Trio on the web, and to one point, the town is thinking about going to another system. They are smaller than us, but that was what we had as of 4:30 on Thursday the 24th. Then also a message came in from Harris to me. It's on my phone, but I also have it printed out, that the dispute that the auditors had on the file that said undefined and unknown, that developed before I came here. They are still working in it. They have passed it on to the investigation, and once it's answered, they will get back to us. With your facts on the figures for your budget, in entering your budget, we got the regular budget in, and then to do your last election had to be done through a special process, which they call adding to the beginning balance. If you don't put a B in, it doesn't go in the right way. It got half entered with a B and half ended with a regular. I avoided it. We put it back in. For some reason, both the figures are in there. I have it highlighted, and I'm finishing the conversation with Dan tomorrow morning to find out how to get this off. That is why your figures were off to last week, and I apologize for that because I didn't have time. You wanted figures, and I gave you, but that's what it is. And I can tell you each line that was specifically affected. So I'm sorry, but that's all I have for answers on your trio. And as far as your minutes go, there's a check in question that John's been asking partners about, as well as myself, and we still do not. It's a 5-digit figure that was deposited into our account, and The partners, as of right now, cannot prove where it came from. It's there. It's not on the books because we don't know where to post it. And they supposedly another part of it that's for $212.50, and it's gone to an agency in Augusta, supposedly. They don't have it, so I have been calling with them. It gets confusing when I'm doing my job and following up with it, and then other people are asking the same questions. So I am doing my job, despite what some people in this room think. And if you have any questions, and instead of asking other employees, I'd appreciate it if you came and asked me personally. And I will tell you my feelings on anything. But don't put me down when you don't even come near my office or ask anything. And I did my best to be nice to you. I'm not saying any names, but I'm sure they know whom I'm speaking to. All right, that's the money. That's with Trio. Your money for your $377,000 has been moved. And I apologize that it was not done before, but I was not aware of it had to be done, and it will not be neglected. It's going to be moved every month from now on. So you will get the maximum accountability of interest that the town deserves. Because I don't have standard operating procedures, had no guidance. I was promised twice in these meetings that there'd be guidance coming in from the auditors. To this date, the auditors have not stepped a foot in that office, and neither has Trio. I will say that Dan and Andy have been the greatest help to me at Trio, and they both see that there's a lot of problems, and since Anastasia reached out, other towns have reached out to me personally and told me their problems with the web. So that's all I can really say on that. Other than when I first heard about the web, I was suggested by a former auditor of Ron Smith's, told me not to go with it, and I made that statement. But as one of your selectmen stated, said I was against it, and I says I'm not against it. I worked with it very little for my previous employee, and I can't say anything, but I'll tell you right now, it is ungodly slow, and there are errors, and it's not user-friendly. It's not cost-effective. We're doing twice as many keystrokes to get one job done. And then when you're asking for a file, you're up to 2 minutes just waiting for the darn thing to print. And we kind of figured that I'm losing about half a day just sitting there waiting for the reports on a day that there's a lot of reports to run. But that's the way it goes, and they're looking into it. I have mentioned it several times, and I know Judy has as well. Let's see. My understanding right now is that payroll, we have one signature. AP, I have to have 3. Am I right? As of right now.
As of right now, the policy, there's an ordinance. Payroll needs 1. We're looking to get that changed on the November ballot.
Okay.
And then
And anything, I just want to make sure that you folks are aware of. If these warrants come before you, I have to have 3 signatures. If they come and you've got a full board, I have to have 3. And I just want to make sure that you're aware of it.
Yep.
Okay. As far as your Verizon, if I can get those numbers off the cameras, that'll be taken care of tomorrow morning. The SIM cards are in my office.
Perfect.
Okay? And then I'll call you as soon as they're ready.
Awesome.
And we can go from there. I'm dealing right with one man, and he seemed very knowledgeable. He wasn't in today, but the SIM cards didn't come in until later this afternoon. Okay, so I wanted you to know on that. I had a chance to speak to Ben, the lawyer, in regards to commingling funds. He does not want to see and does not recommend the town handle anything that's not with the town specifically, such as like your historical society. Let them handle their own money, and we don't get involved in it. This occurred with another branch, I was told, in 2021 of the municipal government, and I don't know the findings because it was in an executive session, and it was stopped. The auditors stopped it immediately. That's all I can tell you, and whoever was on the board back then would know. but I was told it made quite a bit of stink here in the town, and I'm not bringing up names or anything, but my recommendation with Ben's conversation is we don't get involved handling the historical's money because they're not part of the town per se. And that's his
But
recommendation.
if somebody makes a donation to the Limerick Rec Department,
They can do that,
and the
but
Rec Department is putting on a program in conjunction with the Historical Society, and the Rec Department is basically the umbrella of it, there's nothing wrong with that, correct?
I would ask Ben that question because you're getting awful close to a gray matter as far as money. You're not going black and white, and I'm not trying to be difficult or anything, but just knowing how emphatic he was that we didn't do it. That's why I've got my notes here from, I went with the meetings, and I'm going down everything on the meetings that I know for information. I asked him to put it in writing. I have not received it as of this morning, unless it's farther down the line. I planned on trying to get some work done this last weekend. Unfortunately, I was not allowed to, facilitated by some new medication that I was put on, and it didn't like me at all. So I apologize that didn't done. But as I said, I will be working with Trio tomorrow morning as soon as we get the payables and payroll off the desk. The payroll checks are not going to be issued till Thursday, and neither are the AP. That way they're in the same day, and it's just moved it, the payroll and payables. Your check's going to be dated May instead of April, because May 1st is Thursday. So we went from having 4 payrolls this month, from 5 payrolls to 4. And it changes it. The end of the year is on a Wednesday, so the town will have to make a determination if you're going to pay them on, well, the 1st is a holiday, and you're going to have the same thing on Christmas. How are you going to pay them? Because I started counting the weeks when I saw that jumped at 1, but you still got your same number, but you're getting awful close to changing years in there too. And I'm giving you better than 6 months to think about it. I was told, and I read in the minutes that in the bank, when I came aboard, that I took it upon myself to see about your interest rate. Well, that's something I was always taught that was part of the treasurer's job for investment money. And so that's why I did it. I didn't do it to be sneaky or anything, but when somebody sees you can double your insurance, your kickback, so to speak. It's not a kickback, but that don't take rocket science. You don't throw money away for a town. I'm here to make money for the town. I'm here to work for the town. And I don't need the smirks and comments outside the town. I'm pleased to say, I got approached in 3 different facilities here in this town last week telling me to keep up the good work. And excuse my English, one lady says to me, how the hell do you put up with the harassment? And I says, it's part of the job. Why can't you tell them off? That's not my place. I listen to you guys, and I take your comments, and take them to heart, really to heart, and do them and find out the right way to do everything that I'm doing for this town. It's new to me because this is an elected position. There's a lot more authority, a lot more reaching out and touching people, if you want to say, but that's what it came to. And I'm getting reminded that by some friends of other towns, stuff I don't have to put up with. And I says, well, like I told you this morning, John, I made a promise at the first meeting we ever went to. I'd be right up front with you. Anything I see, I come to tell you that doesn't look right. And I'm going to continue to do that. I know I don't have to, but I work for the town. I was elected by the town, and I'm proud to be part of this town, to work for them. And I want to make this a profitable one, and I want us to be able to be proud that when you get the results from Ron, that you've got everything is going to be balanced. We have on the 8th of the month, I sent out a list of every account to every department and had them go over. I'm still waiting for some departments, and I put a time frame, please return by the 11th. I've still got at least a half a dozen departments that have not returned it. Laura is working on the fire department. Right now, she's put in 3 days trying to figure out it was. Now, if that young lady can't figure out where the money came from, and she's the one that was here doing it, how the devil is somebody that just walked in the door supposed to know? I can say that I know my job, but I'm not a mind reader, and I thank God she's in there with me to help me. But I've turned that project completely, and when she needs and asks questions, we yell to Vinnie, and also we'd go back and take time to find it in the actual records. She's doing a super job, and so is Sue in helping. That's where we found the $36,000. So, and we still, as of tonight, do not have an answer on that. This money was deposited so that the people, they don't need to know this, I can tell you enough that it was deposited at a bank. It says it's an escrow account. It was made with a certified bank check. It was made out to the bank, but deposited to our account. So somebody had our account number and deposited part of it into our account. The other part of it, the $212.50, supposedly went to Augusta. And Augusta, as I said, hasn't got it. And the bank has been looking since last Wednesday. And as I talked to John today, I said it's going to come down to looking at a camera to see who went to the bank and did this deposit. But it's at the corporate office. Is that in Sanford? Because I don't get over to that country. And hopefully we will have an answer. But I'm staying on top of it, and so is Bill Wood. He's right.
So asking you a follow-up question on that,
Yes, sir.
would that be considered harassment?
No, you're going to ask me why I didn't see it sooner. Because of the way that the girls were balancing the checkbook, she put it at that it was outstanding, hoping it would show up, and it didn't.
So when was the deposit made?
October 15th.
And when did you discover it?
Sue brought it to my attention at the beginning of the month.
So how do you balance a bank statement every month?
Outstanding. You balance it because that deposit, just like some of the credit cards, don't come in for over 30 days. You carry it, and when she got to the final end, going back and getting rid of all of the carry forwards, that's when she brought it to me and showed me what she had. So that's just,
So you would carry forward a deposit that you don't know where it came from? I mean,
I
that's
didn't
customary?
know, okay, just a deposit that hadn't shown up in Trio as of yet. Deposit was in the bank. It just hadn't been come across from the front offices to our offices as of yet. And it's shown when you do your trial balances, it shows on it that it hasn't cleared. So, no, because as I said, with your credit cards, some of those go even longer, or when the credit card cancels a credit card, they don't let you know the best way they should, but they do. And I found out how to get in touch with them due to past practices and follow right up on it. But that is why, and that's not going to happen again, because I've said don't carry anything like that ever again, and we're not. We're cleaning everything right up so that we're making the journal entries. I've sent 2 pages of journal entries, what the department's requested, and what I have found to Karen as of yet, and I'm going to call it by Friday. Whatever we've got is what I'm going to send. I don't know how far we will be moved with the fire department, because I don't know what Laura's schedule is. She said she'd work 1 more day for me, and I don't know what day of the week because of her family matters. But we're pushing on to it because I know how important it is, and I've been in touch with the people on the TAN and keeping Courtney in charge right on line with that. Also with the payroll, there's a question on some of the reports, the quarterlies, and I've got a meeting with Carrie and Sally tomorrow to discuss their issues with what they've got. But we're staying right in contact with the payroll.
Current quarterlies or past quarterlies?
Current. I think that's enough and about it. If you've got any questions.
What departments are you waiting on for?
I'd have to go get the list for you,
Okay.
Brady. They're small, they're relatively small. But
Okay.
what's holding us up is the fire department. And that's why I gave it to Laura, because she'd know the history of it a lot better than me.
Okay.
because she was, she was here all the time that they started moving money. And by the way, welcome back.
Thank you.
Can you send us all an email with those departments?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I will also, with your chat, what I've got to work with Andy tomorrow, that should facilitate that you get your reports. I'm very sorry, but I wasn't going to give you bad reports again. But I found them, and as I said, Alicia had reached out to other towns. We know there are problems with Trio and supposedly the corporate branches above the people that we talk to every day are working on it. That's all I can tell you on that, other than maybe getting the head honcho down here. And I've got her direct line, so I could call her. Whatever your wishes are.
Now, I understand Trio's been sold, right?
I
The
don't know.
company?
Recently?
I understand it's owned by a Canadian company
Oh, it has
now.
been. That was done. That was, now, when they bought it from Canada, it became Harris. The original Trio, 3 people, are no longer associated with it.
Okay.
One of the original founders is down south, because I worked with him for 5 years. But I do have means to get a hold of Allison and seeing if she can, in her project, because she lives down south, if she's up here, if she can come down. She should be in the area soon, because the Maine Municipal Associations, not their monthly, but the Maine Municipal Tax Collectors and Treasurers Association convention is coming up next month, so she should be up there, because Trio usually goes to that for their new programs and everything for the tax collectors and the treasurers. I'm not going this year because we've got too much to get done. And I made a promise to you and the taxpayers that you would have your reports, and you're going to have them. Okay. So, anything else from anybody? So what is your wishes on the commingling of funds? You just want to speak on that with each other?
I think that if it's we can get more clarification from Ben, but if it's a recreation department hold on. If it's a dual department, so the Historical Society is doing it in conjunction with the rec department, and the donations to the rec department would just pay the...
Okay, can I reach out to, with your permission, I'll reach out to the rec department and see how he wants this handled, because it'll be underneath his umbrella, so he'll be supervising it, if it's going to be the municipal government, not the Historical Society.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fine.
Okay, do you have any other wishes?
He knows.
Well, haven't spoke to him, so I want to know how he, yeah, okay, thank you.
But he does, I emailed him to make sure he would.
And speaking of that, one further thing I would like to ask, it isn't usually till either the middle of the day or the end of the day. If I could have the minutes just hard copied, put on my desk, and the agendas, that would help me an awful lot. If it won't put you out, and I apologize if it does.
Your agenda?
Well, when you have your agenda on Friday, just give me a copy of it. That's all I'm asking. And the minutes, when they get approved and you type them up, I saw them, and I printed them when I got home, so. But I'm just asking if I could have a hard copy, and I know that was something that Laura May said she'd asked for too. But I'm not trying to be difficult, just one, so we can get a hard copy and we know we got it. And
It goes online on Fridays.
okay, okay.
Minutes and I email them, yes, I understand them.
Thank you, I really appreciate it, Alicia. All right, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. And Judy.
I just come up regarding the email you sent out.
Yep.
Because you started with the select board has been made aware of a potential issue involving someone accessing Trio. I had called Trio with questions, because again, my concern was the server to start with.
Yep.
There was scales on the server. I talked to Chris, our tech, because something at the time was email. According to Trio, my concern was, can anyone go on that server, now that we're web, and get into Trio? They informed me that they could not. That server in our office has nothing really to do with the web. It's to do with our individual computers. So if I am, let's say I go into the U drive, which is the server,
Yep.
to save files, like if I want to do copies of the town minutes and that stuff, save it in a file in my folder, in my computer. That's what that's for. So anybody can go in and save their files on the U drive, which is a server. But as far as the web and in Trio, they can't get into Trio because that's the web that works through the cloud. Doesn't work off the server. So he did clarify that up for me last week.
Okay.
So,
Can I just tell you why I sent that email? So one of us got a text message from somebody in the building saying, hey, this is what I heard, I want to make you aware. And then it was shared with the other the other four of us. And that's when I said, well, I don't want to, ignore it. I don't want to let it go by. I want to ask the people involved on who was in that message. So that's why that email was sent out today.
I already got the feel of that.
Okay.
Because I have been mouthing off. Because I've been a little uptight over all this stuff going on. Anyways, again, as far as that was why I was getting a hold of Trio. My concern about someone being in Trio with a password, I again got it verified that where I am the admin to Trio, I am the only one that can add users to the Trio web. And they give me their password. So like I said, it's the treasurer, the town clerk, myself, our deputies, code office for the assessing and stuff. So they give me their password. I put the password in. Once I put it in, I don't keep their password. But when they get done working or whatever, like I said, when Laura got done, Anastasia got all finished now, I go in and I delete it. So they're no longer a user of Trio. So even if they have a laptop at home, they can't get into Trio because they're deleted out of the Trio web. So make that clear. And my other concern was these questions about, was a comment made regarding unauthorized changes to this in the system? Again, there was. I have been upset because of the stuff that's been going on. Julie has been getting accused nonstop, okay? She came in, one thing, at a bad time. We had all them projects going, late 23 into 2024. Grant money hadn't come in. Like I said, and the money was, you gotta still pay the bills, and I get it. There was 3 different things we voted on when it came to paying certain bills for those projects. So it could go anyway. But there was concerns over it, getting the bills out a little quicker. We did have to reassess the whole town anyways because we weren't at 100%. So that was legit. All of that stuff was legit. But again, my concern was I changed Julie's password. I set her up when she first came in, deleted Laura out. So I set her up. And in the beginning, she was having issues. I didn't know how much she knows and didn't know, and that didn't concern me. I was doing my own job. So I believe that she had asked for some help or with voice her concerns to some who was involved in some of these projects. And again, she had a book with all of her passwords in it when she was out with her back injury for the whole month of January. That book was given to the office, I guess, so they could do whatever they were doing. So when she told me about all of this, after the fact, I told her that's one thing you shouldn't do. You don't ever give anybody, especially with Trio, don't give your password out to anyone. Because again, The user with that password is going to be her, because that password is going to show her that she's the teller doing these things in the system. So we changed our password, about probably February. Yes. And then, again, about a month ago, she was having issues again with the trio trying to get in and stuff. So I re-changed her password. Again, there's no only way. My concern was, again, things are happening. Money's supposed to get moved, money's missing, money this and that, and the accounts aren't matching up with things. And I just don't feel that she's all to blame. I'm not saying that she probably has some blame, but she didn't understand that system no more than running reports and stuff with the web is a lot different than it was with SQL. We had that talk with the auditor, and according to him, some of this stuff started late in 21 into 22, blah, blah, blah. Well, we changed from regular TRIO program into the SQL in 2020. So whether or not, again, when you pull that stuff in, changing the type, some things could have got messed up for the 21, 22, 23 tax, years. And then we changed over to the web in 24. Well, beginning of 25, actually, before we actually got it done. And yes, I'm having issues with rapid renewal, trying to upload and download files, because if you want to go online and re-register a car with rapid renewal, the data's not there until I send it up. I have to download from motor vehicles into the TRIO, and then from TRIO up to rapid renewal, then back down again. So there is some issues. And again, you call them back in the day when it was regular, just a TRIO, before they changed over to Harris and stuff, you had more of a one-on-one when you called. There was always somebody there to answer and help you out. Now it's you got to put in a ticket. They might get back to you if you wait. It might be a day, it might be 4 hours, you don't know. So I'm one of these, if it's something urgent, I'll keep calling. And I tell them I need someone to call me today. So most of the time it works out pretty good. They will get back to me. So I know working here, I've been here a long time. And when you change hands and stuff, I think people do things differently in their offices. And it is their office, and they have the right to do that. But I've just never seen such an uproar as we've been doing. And it's wearing us all out. Excuse me. Again, Anastasia, she decided to go to soccer because she'd had it with all the nonsense too. And like I said, I know she's got a lot to learn, and she's trying. Laura's trying to help her, trying to work with her. But, there's a lot of the stuff that you can't explain. Just like this check she showed me with this Partners Bank. It was a bank check, is what it was. Someone paid something with a bank check, Partners Bank check. It was all, that transaction was done, I'm taking it from what I understand, in the branch in Sanford, not down here in the town of Limerick. This whole thing, that part to me, kind of radar. Again, I don't know what happened, but to sit there and try to blame it on the treasurer, I'm sorry, I just think you're pointing fingers too quick, and it's getting her riled up. We're getting all nerved up because we're trying to figure it out. We're trying to help her out as much as we can. But it's like she's so in that ball of trying to defend herself, she's just going to keep getting behind on the regular daily stuff. And again, maybe she needs Laura plus maybe another treasurer that is used to the TRIO web and work with her. Maybe they can show her more stuff. Maybe then they can even show us some stuff with it. I don't know. But I just wish this would just kind of lighten up a bit. Let people try to do their job, get it done right, the best they can. And if they still having an issue, then they need to find the answer. But to sit here and have about 50 things thrown at you every week, it's getting ridiculous. The tax acquired, again, that wasn't my job. I did it to help her out. I was unfamiliar with how to receipt tax acquired because I never had to do that. I did the best I could. So the past month, I had over 38 properties that I had receipted, and I copied off all the reports of how I receipted it and what accounts it hit. When you get one lump sum check for the whole total of a sale, part of that's got to be legal costs, it's got to be interest, it's got to be pulled out. It all went into the general account of a 186, which is tax acquired, for the total amount, which would probably just be real estate's what it's considered. But by printing all this out, those reports, I send them over, I emailed them all over to our auditor, Karen. I did like 8 a day, because I said it took a while. So she is going in to see how much has to be taken out of that G account per each property, what was interest, what is demand fees, what's legal fees, admin fees, so that she's gonna write them all down to how much money to take out of that G account, how much total goes into revenue for interest, demand fees, and all that. So she is doing that right now. So hopefully that will be straightened out within a week. But that's about it. Like I said, this kind of upset me a little bit. But again, everybody up here are on each other's throat. Again, you get the looks, it's like, whatever, I'm used to the looks. So I get that from some of the customers too. But thanks.
Thank you. All right, we will move on to old business. Review of legal accounts. I did not see one in there. Cemetery mowing, veterans and cemetery committee. There is nothing new on that.
There was a legal bill.
Zero. It's a zero credit, they gave us credit, there's no money owed.
There was a bill that.
Yes, there was
So
one in there, but
do we have a retainer? We must have given them a retainer when they started?
it's right on what they did, but there's no money owed for this one.
Yeah, they did like 200 and some odd dollars worth of work,
Yeah.
and they said it's been credited towards our retainer. So I'm assuming when we signed up with
Signed
Jensen
with
Baird,
them.
we must have given them a retainer, which we should probably find out
How much?
how much it is, and if we have anything coming back to us when they're done.
Don't hold your breath on that one, John.
Well, I mean, they zeroed out this bill on their own with it, so I'm assuming they want to clear it out of their books, so I guess they must feel that there's enough of a retainer that whatever they're doing for the next 2 weeks, they're not going to bill us.
Lights for the municipal building. We're waiting on a quote to come in. The last person walked on Friday. And then revisions of policies. We have a copy of the standard operating procedure for our review to possibly incorporate it with the purchase policy. I know there was talk last week of taking the purchase policy and looking over it and coming back with changes. I don't know if that was...
I haven't had 1 minute to do it, so.
Okay, so So can someone just inform, like the discussion about it was to include both of them together? Just for sake of ease? Yeah. Okay, so...
I made the comment, Brady, that we should be streamlining that because it seems a little bit too much, the way the procedure goes. I know when the purchase order one was made up, that was a cut and paste. And I know the person that did it told me that that's what she did. So, yeah.
I do agree that the purchase policy is somewhat outdated with the pen and paper, but that's me.
The purchase policy's outdated?
Not the purchase,
or
sorry, the purchase order policy.
The purchase order policy.
Have we seen that to be helping, Julie? The purchase orders been?
If they do it, yes.
Okay. So, obviously, it's something that is working, so I think we do need to, I just got back into town yesterday, so I have not had a chance to review this myself. Have either of you?
I think instead of the policies, we have policies that are appendices to the the SOP. I think the purchase policy, which I think could use a little work, should be the document, and it should refer to
The purchase
the
order?
purchase order policy. I mean, that would make sense, and then you can also reference the municipal credit card, the bill. I mean, I don't think they need to be attached at all times, but I think that if we're gonna go over the purchase policy, if you look at it, like I said last week, 0 to 1,000 and 1,000 to 2,500 basically require the exact same,
Information?
and it's the exact same thing, so. I make a motion, we adjust the purchase policy to read from 0 to $2,499, and then all the wording after the 2,500 in the current purchase policy.
You said last week, John, 2,500 is too high.
That's why I said 2,499, no. I said
No.
2,499 because the way these are written, like 1,000 falls into two categories, and so does 2,500, so.
They're almost the same. With the cost of stuff today, what difference does it make? You go to,
These two are almost the same.
yeah.
These two are identically the same as far as I'm
Yep.
concerned.
I will second that motion for sake of discussion. I do agree that
This
they...
money has to be in their budget. I don't know that $2,499 or $2,500, whatever it is. If we can't trust our department heads to spend $2,500, that's money in their budget, that we're going to see the warrant on anyways. How many levels does it gotta go through it at that dollar amount?
Can I have maybe after that? Right, when you go into anything, say over 4,000, you want to have one of your selectmen sign off on it, just to see why everybody. Yes,
Well, we're
it
doing
might
that-
not be in their budget, but still,
We're doing that at
2,500.
starting at 2,500.
okay, I didn't have the policy in front of me, so
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're gonna start that at 2,500.
Okay, thank you. Just to see why
Yeah.
Howard,
So
were you gonna say
what it says is that 2,500 to 14,999, written quotes, and it must be attached and approved by the select board. So that would be the next tier after the 2,499.
I'll cut that in half. I'd come down to under $10,000 before you go to that high. That's an awful high, John.
Before what?
Whatever your last stage is, I wouldn't put.
That's not the last stage, there's another stage above that.
Okay.
There's a stage for 15,000 and above,
And that's written bids.
and that's where it goes to written bid.
That's all it says. Oh, that's all I figured. Okay.
All right, there is a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? All right, that passes.
I make a motion that we attach to the purchase policy and reference the SOP for purchasing, for purchase orders.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? All right, that passes.
So did that wording get changed on the end?
Let's see.
It makes it more consistent.
What has changed on it?
That's the purchase order policy. The purchase policy is a different
I don't
paper.
think it's, this is,
I think we got a copy of it last week, and then we were emailed a copy of it as well.
exceptions from bidding. This is,
All right,
Read it.
this order on certain goods or services, but not limited to, blah, blah, blah. May continue to provide certain contracts each year, no annual bidding for such good or service is necessary. However, this assumes good customer service and competitive pricing is provided. If it is deemed necessary, may decide to what to bid for such services. All contractors and vendors must pay town proof of insurance as directed by the select board. I mean, this, there really isn't any change. Did you type this up, Alicia?
No, Bernie gave it.
Bernie, is that different than what I'm reading? Am I missing something?
Falling to, however, it assumes that good customer service and competitive pricing is provided by such contractors. If it is deemed necessary by the select board, if it is deemed necessary, the select board may put out the bid services good provided by these contractors and vendors. All contractors and vendors must supply the town with proof of insurance as directed. That was the change.
Oh, as directed, okay, as opposed
It
to
just,
if required.
yes, it's just a couple words. It just
Yep.
covers us with.
So I make a motion under the exemptions from bidding. We remove everything that is in the brackets of legal, plumbing, electrical, surveyors, and others, and take out those few examples, and change the last sentence to vendors must apply the town proof of insurance as directed by the select board. So we're changing, we're just taking out the parentheses because that, it says legal, plumbing, electrical surveyor, and
It's now in
others,
the purchase order policy.
This one says, it listed, it says, but not limited to.
but not limited to.
So
But,
it,
but people look at that and think it's, I mean, we had
Page 10
one
of this
person read that
policy.
last week and give their own opinion based on what they read.
whatever you want to do.
So I would say we remove it.
All right, there is a, and this is a motion inside of a motion, too. So there's a motion to change the wording.
To change under exemptions from
Under
bidding,
exemptions from bidding, change the
Move it.
wording to what you read.
take everything out that's in the parentheses and change the last sentence to all contractors and vendors must supply the town with proof of insurance as directed by the select board.
All right. So any further discussion? All in favor of the change of wording? Opposed? All right. And then the motion to attach it to the purchase policy. We didn't vote on that one yet.
Yeah, we did.
We did?
Yeah. That was the second motion. Yeah, we did.
Guess I fell asleep for a minute. All right, is there any further on the purchase policy or the standard operating procedure? None, all right. And then review of hearing a citizens policy. It was agreed last week that we were going to wait until the purchase policy is set so we can review that this week. And Alicia has emailed that to us as well. So we'll come back next week with the review of the hearing a citizens policy with any proposed changes. Quotes for tree removal. 2 will do Tibbetts Park, 1 wants both.
So you would ask if contractors would be willing to just do Tibbetts Park at the time and maybe not get the municipal building if their bids, depending on how their bids were. So 2 contractors had said they would do just Tibbetts Park. 1 came back and said they would do Tibbetts Park, but only if they were awarded the municipal building as well.
So do we have this in writing somewhere? Who we're talking about?
One stood up during the meeting, or said it during the meeting, and the other one is an email format. The other 2 are an email format. It's not a bidding question. No. It was just a question.
We're going to wait till the hearing of citizens.
No problem.
So any,
So what, I just did what I was asked. I wasn't, and this may just be for the special town meeting all together. But that was a question that you'd asked me to reach out, so.
Okay. And can you just forward the responses of who said what?
Sure.
Thank you.
I make a motion, we award the tree contract to Kimball's Tree Service based on their emailed estimate.
Include both locations?
For both locations.
Not the way it was spec'd out, John.
Was there something missing?
Yeah, it was a sealed bid.
And we get the
Now
right,
you want to change the rules and go, somebody emails something in, you want to just take that,
well, it says we have the
instead
right,
of throwing the whole damn thing right out.
and start over and do it again?
If that's what we got to do, you got to play by the rules here.
And the rules say we can accept or reject and negotiate with any bidder.
We voted on that last week.
Yeah,
There's a second at least for discussion.
I was second it for discussion. I'm a little biased on this. I agree that it wasn't done by sealed bid. However, if it is in the best interest of the town with the amount that they bidded, I think that it would be good for the town. I mean, we're here to oversee the checkbook and make the right decisions on spending, and
it doesn't require a moving of any money. We'll actually have money left to use for other things on town-owned properties.
all right, any further discussion on that? All in favor? Opposed? All right, that passes. All right, in town-owned properties, snowplow contract update. This has been updated for the extension with the changes that we made at the workshop. So we just need to review this, and if we think it is good, we'll let Alicia know and we'll sign it. The changes are in bold.
Yeah, changes are in bold, so.
Okay.
there's
So we will
anything
Change the date, it says May 27, should be May 26.
See, that's why we have extra eyes. And it may have changed that in the beginning when it was normal 2 years.
Perfect. So we will review this with all the changes because there were definitely a few. And we will bring this back to the next meeting with the hearing
Has Rick
assistant.
gotten a copy of it?
Electronic time clock. Paper from CTR Maine. We've asked MRI for a demo date to show us how to use it and how the system
So
works.
there's a different one that MRI will show us. This is a different company that just was a phone call conversation on a basic 4-digit code.
So is this,
In all
Some-
honesty, this is not going to save their department any time. They still have to view the time cards and accept them before.
is this a recommendation from MRI? I'm sorry if I missed that.
No, not this
No?
one.
Okay.
No, this is just another company.
And so we're waiting for one from MRI still,
Yes.
or?
Well, MRI will do a demo, so they will, like, I would say it'd probably be through Zoom, we can set up, so I reached out to her today. to
Okay.
Give me some dates.
I'm just wondering if they have one that plugs in with their system.
Yeah, I
Just
mean,
for
I'm
the sake of
sure,
ease,
sure
yeah.
there is, but what I'm saying is it's not going to alleviate anything from
Yeah.
the treasurer's office, other than what they do now and scan them to MRI.
Okay.
But if we, and I think this is crazy, we can't add another monthly fee, especially if it's gonna be $5,000 a year to process payroll, so, the one-time cost isn't crazy, but we can't add more monthly fees. There's gotta be a system that is Like, there's gotta be something
Well,
that's not
somebody still
as,
has to monitor it. You have the software program. They get all of the how paid, how the hours, vacation accruals. So I don't think anything is gonna be free, but. And we have to have 4 systems. These run off, well, they're all gonna run off Wi-Fi, but there's certainly higher tech ones. You could get biometric, fingerprint, like, ones. So I just asked for the simple, easiest, which is just like a 4-digit code that,
Where's the 4th one?
library,
They have their own?
yeah, they do they would have, they don't clock
Okay.
down on here.
Okay.
there's gotta be something in between the good old fashioned and $500 a month. I don't know.
And there
Maybe
could
not.
be, I mean,
Maybe
when we hit, I'm just saying, it's still not going to alleviate anything, I believe, in their department.
Well, somebody's totaling time cards.
They are,
Well, that'll save that person time.
MRI does, that's what.
MRI totals the time cards?
Yeah, that's what we pay them for. All they do is scan them through to MRI.
Same, and Vinny scans it to MRI. We put them in a Dropbox, they take it down from there, then they do it. And if they have any questions, if they can't read the time sheet, they call us back.
So that's what.
And then do we get it back for the department head to look at, or no?
I have the originals. Vinny brings me over the originals, and I have the originals for this building and the transfer station.
The time cards themselves?
Once MRI totals it. do
Yeah,
we
they're in
get-
here.
Yeah, the way you have to look at it is take the time card, over what MRI has paid the people.
All right, well,
So I'm not 100% sure what we're trying to alleviate, I guess is my question.
I guess my
That's all.
question to MRI would be, does every time they deal with them send 1975 time cards?
I just didn't know if there was a system that like at my work, we clock in through a Bangor payroll system, and it goes immediately to Bangor payroll. Yes, the department head has to approve it. Like I have to approve my team's hours for the week, but it is already plugged in electronically to the payroll company. So I didn't know if MRI had a system that integrates with them, and then it's just a send back to the department heads, do you approve this, yay or nay? No? Okay. I guess that's what I was kind of hoping for with this, a system like this. But,
And we're down 4 people that don't have direct deposit right now.
3.
I got the paperwork back. Thank you, Brady.
all right, so what do we want to do regarding this? I definitely don't want to pay this monthly cost of $500. And if it's not going to really do much to alleviate problems in the departments, then how long does it take you to send the time cards?
5 minutes.
Okay.
And I'll let you know that I've got to get, when I talk to them, Brady.
I'll make a motion on it.
There is some coding issues because I see on Vinny's when I printed it out, when I'm looking, things start running the previous view folks that are going to the wrong numbers, and I'll get together with Vinny and see where he actually wants to go.
I guess my only concern is, like the fire department, for instance, there's times that people will work like a 48-hour shift,
Whatever,
and they'll punch in on Tuesday and punch out
yes.
Thursday morning.
Vinny does his, he adds his time.
He totals
He's
them,
doing
Yeah.
his time cards before he
Okay.
sends them.
Kids
Well,
are all there together.
so is everybody else. So if I look here, Joanne's doing them, and Cindy's doing them, so
Yeah.
they're all being totaled, so. As long as, I would just thought if we were sending them in, I mean, I'm not saying that there could be mistakes, there could be nefarious stuff where somebody says, I'm gonna punch in today and come back in, punch out tomorrow, and a 48-hour shift at the fire department isn't abnormal. I mean, that's, so,
Vinny is looking at his.
Yeah,
and what's
okay.
here, and with us, I can say for a matter of fact that she's challenged, and when we couldn't see if a punch is missing, they call me, and we verify it right then.
all right.
All right. So should we still go ahead with the demo date on this? If I don't find it necessary.
I wouldn't waste their time.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not gonna use it, no.
Yeah.
if it's not gonna
Waste
save
of
anything
time
and it's
at
gonna
all.
cost us another $6,000 a year, I can't see why we would ever do that.
All right. The progress of the sale in the Moore building, we're waiting on a closing date. We had has that come back from the attorney? The conflict waiver?
No, well, I have not.
I was gonna say, because I think my name was on there to be
Yeah.
signed and I haven't signed
No,
it, so.
has not.
Okay, and also, the purchase and sales agreement itself has not been signed as of yet because we were waiting for the attorney on the deed restrictions, so,
They put all that together and sent the deed. So
okay,
they put the purchase and sales order together, they changed it to their liking,
okay,
and they drew up the deed with the restrictions that we asked for. And as far as I know, they're just waiting to get all the parties together to close it.
okay. I know there was one, a couple days after the vote, the purchase and sales agreement came to me, and I didn't sign it, and I haven't signed one, so I don't know if I need to sign it. I would assume I would need to sign it.
They'll probably sign it at the closing.
Okay.
And then when that's done, if you let me know so I can stop the utility,
Yep.
please.
That was a discussion I had today. I was like, we shouldn't be paying this. And I was like, well, we still own it. Never mind. Never mind. All right, discussion of a new attorney. We have 3 to choose from, plus we can always go with Bernstein, sure, if needed. I think this is something that we definitely can't keep pushing. We have a couple proposal for legal services. Some came via email. We have a hard copy here. There was 2 given last week.
Yes.
Okay. So I have not seen the ones from last week, but did any of you guys review them? And I know that the one we have here tonight is from Brady Flaherty. So I guess I'm going to take back what I just said on not wanting to kick it down the road, but I would like to review the 2 from last week, review this one and the one from the email that we got. And I want to come back with a decision next week as we're getting pretty close to May 7th. I don't know how the rest of the board feels.
Good idea.
I was hoping we'd hear from Eaton Peabody, but they have they have a real, some of these I looked up, and they have, their lawyers specialize in zoning and in land use, but none of them really, a couple of them don't really jump out with the actual municipal law. I mean, this one clearly does, and Bernstein Shore did, and Eaton Peabody does. We haven't heard from them, so.
What were the 3?
The one that I have in front of me is the Brady Flaherty. I'm not sure of the ones that are in email or the ones that were given last week. I do not have my packet from last week.
Another one was Woodman Inlands.
So we'll review these and come back next week with our decision. Hopefully Eaton Peabody gets back within the week. We sent them an email.
So we're gonna meet and have 2 days to be represented.
I mentioned this a couple weeks ago, and people said that we don't have to have one selected by May 7th, that we can, if it comes up and we need one, we can pick it that day. Because I said I don't want to be here in 3 weeks under the
When did we
gun to
get the
pick
Freddie
one.
Flaherty one? Because I haven't got a copy of it. Oh, I get this
Right
one, that's
there.
right, the other ones.
Well, Bernstein Shore came here.
I know that,
She actually came.
but we don't have the write-up on them?
She sent an email.
She sent it right up.
She sent
Oh,
it.
a while back, yes, that is true.
And then there was one came in last week, right? There was one last week?
The one Howard, and then you guys got the Bergen and Parkinson one a while ago. That was it, Sheriff, Bergen and Parkinson.
Can we print out a packet so everybody's got the same thing?
Yeah, you guys all got them. I mean, you got Bergen and Parkinson at least over.
I do have that one.
A week ago.
Yeah.
Howard's the Woodman Edmonds last week.
I do
And
not have that one.
Free Flaherty tonight, and I will forward Bernstein Shore right now.
I make a motion we call Pretty Flaherty and ask them if they will represent us on a 30-day trial period starting May 5th for 1 month while we continue to move through the process. That way we're not uncovered, and they certainly have the biggest practice. Their price is better than Bernstein Shore, and that would at least get us some coverage until we make a final decision.
Second.
All right, motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? All right, that passes. So we will reach out to them and ask if they are willing to do that. Is there any update on the municipal parking lot paving, Howard or Bernie?
The paperwork's all ready to go to send out the engineering firms. I made a couple phone calls to 2 engineering firms. One called me back, and I'm sure they're all in the same boat. They're all busy. They said if they could start doing their layout the end of July, they would have specifications and a cost estimate ready for us by the end of February. They're just right out straight. So we knew we weren't going to pave it this year, but we still have to go through the process to see what they're going to come up with. We have to meet with them, tell them what we'd like, have them lay it out the best way they can for us to get a flow of traffic, so you can plow snow and everything else. And
So you repeat that, if we get it to them by when?
if
By July?
if we make a determination
To go with them?
to go with a firm,
Yeah.
whoever, this
This
was the
particular
one, this
firm,
was the
yeah.
one
This one,
that,
yeah.
the one that I spoke to, the only one that returned the call. They said that they would have construction documents and a price back to us by the end of February.
Did they say if they got the RFP now, they could, would we even have their initial return by July? So if we send them an RFP, would they get that back?
They'll give us a proposal of what they're gonna
Yeah.
do, what it's gonna cost us for
Yes.
them to design this.
Yes, but we'll have that by July? Okay.
Yeah. So if we could send it out, I've got on the RFP to have it returned by June 13th. So that'll give them,
So do you want to make that into a motion?
well, I'd like to have a motion that we could send the RFPs out for the design for, paving and layout of the parking lot.
So I make a motion that we send out the RFP for paving and reconstruction of the parking areas at the municipal building to 6 different,
I got 5 firms now, and you said you had some others that,
so.
we have 5 that specialize in doing it. So I don't, I don't know what else we can do.
At least 5 different
Yes.
competent engineering firms.
Second that.
Motion and a second. Are we going to also put the request for proposal like in the shopper's guide, just so we cover our butts that we didn't single out, holding away from any companies?
Well, I think if you look at your purchase policy, if we want to bid, it says we have to. I mean, I don't know how many qualified
I'm just saying,
engineering firms are going to be reading the shopping guide, but
there may be one that shows up, you never know.
there may be one, you never know.
It's happened in the past.
I think it says, be advertised by at least a weekly publication. So we got to put it in the shopper's guide at least once.
And shorten it and like that they can get the information from me, so.
Yeah, I don't put the whole thing in.
You don't have to put the whole thing.
Yeah, okay.
Take up 3 pages.
I'll help you with the wording on that. I'll help you with the wording on it. That's
Right.
easy.
There is a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? All right. So we would do that.
Can we use the money that's set aside in that now to fund that engineering thing, or do we have to, could we take it out of,
It's part of the project.
okay, or could we take it out of the property sales, or?
We need to get voter approval to do that. We already have voter approval to spend this, we've already got, it's either 20 or 40,000, I don't know, we've got 2. I think we voted on it 3 times and it's passed twice, or we voted on it once. We have money in there.
We have 60.
60? So that's part of the project. I mean, if engineering is,
I bet it'll take half of it anyway,
I don't think all of that.
easily. There's a lot of work out there. It's not gonna be cheap. It is not gonna be cheap, so.
All right. Update on the Bricktown Hall basement and the old fire station.
I made my weekly call to Clean Harbors again. I said, we'll get right back to you. They haven't got back to me, so we're still waiting to get that removed. I spoke with Vinny today, and he is gonna, once he gets done the next 2 or 3 weeks, he's got a pretty busy schedule. He is gonna get another work detail together, and they're gonna finish the Brick Town Hall and the old fire station and get it cleaned out.
Perfect. Thank you. Update on bonding of employees. Decision on the email. We have an email from MMA.
So we read it last week, and there was no discussion, like I just want, are we good?
I think at
That was the response.
no additional cost, I think it's,
So I just want to make sure that I can cross that up.
yeah, I think it's a no-brainer. At no additional cost, we can get that done.
And those were the ones in question, correct? Like, I think we
The
did-
road commissioner, general assistants, and the constable, yep. It's funny that the constable's so low compared to the other ones.
I was gonna say it's only $500.
$500 and then $100,000, but that's what the writing says. Yes, I think that is good, and we can take that off. John, do you have anything on the insurance for all town buildings?
Yeah, that's been sent back to MMA with some updated figures.
Perfect.
Just get some stuff in line with, wasn't too many changes, but re-raised. You've got a different one that's on your desk. That's, yeah, yours is on your desk. The one you gave me for the fixed assets? Yes, sir. Yeah, that's on your desk. Thank you very much.
And then next we have the discussion of the special town meeting, items to add. Are there any items we want to add? Or do we need to have the special town meeting since we agreed on a, well, we need it because of the auditor money, so.
We have to consider adding some money to the, where the auditor is. And the treasurer has asked for, Okay. And Judy said tonight you need another person. Her recommendation was, you thought she might need somebody else with...
I'm just saying it was another option.
Yep, okay. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, the last I saw her, assuming it's correct, your office's payroll was already at almost 60% through April. Is that not correct?
I will have that for you shortly.
Okay.
But Laura and I just got on an agreement, and your conferences and stuff will be used, probably the biggest one is being used right now.
Okay.
All right, so I guess we'll wait. Well, no, we have the auditing money. And we don't have a final figure for that yet.
No, we don't
No.
know where that's going to end up.
And you also have a policy to change, right, for your number of signatures?
The ordinance,
Yeah, the ordinance.
That's November.
we're gonna put that on November.
Well, that's what I said.
What else is that special town meeting?
That's what we're discussing right now.
Oh, okay, but that's the first one was auditing.
It was supposed to be three.
The tree money and the auditing,
Yeah, I understand that, but that, the auditing was the only other one?
Right now.
as of right now, yeah. Do we have an idea of how much more it's gonna cost? Just so we can have the special town meeting to move the money for the auditing line? Or,
Well, let's see where the auditor came under.
But you had left the bringing in for the audit for me.
Well, we can't because they're separate.
Oh, I
We'd
understand.
still have to vote to move them.
Admin?
Legal and professional. So, I guess if we can cross our fingers and we can keep the legal bill, try to keep the legal bill down for the year, we could possibly wait till further in the year to see if we can get till June and see where we're at, because that 17 legal and professional was all voted together. The auditor, we have $9,200 budgeted, and we're at 16,000 already, so we're over by about 7,000. And payroll, we only budgeted 9,500, we know it's gonna be 12,000, so there's 3. So I guess if we put a kibosh on calling the lawyer, and I know that we've had this chat before, and I know we have other elected officials, but if we just, put a motion together that all contact with the attorney should be through the town chair or approved by the board chair, maybe we can cut down on that some, and we can get through the year with the money we have. But it would be contingent on, the biggest number in there is the lawyer, so.
do you wanna make that into a motion?
I make a motion that all town employees are required to run by the board chair before contacting the town attorney, and that we request all other elected officials to do the same.
Second that.
Motion and a second, any discussion? The only discussion I have is I know we had this in the past, and I don't think it went pretty good, so hopefully we can.
Well, with this motion, the people that work for us, I mean, that's Stan, if he's gonna call the attorney, he's gonna have to run it by you.
Yep.
We can't tell Judy or Rick or Julie or Dee Dee that they can't call the town attorney, but that's why I said we would request that they do the same, and hopefully, knowing the position we're in, they'll honor that request, and we can kind of keep some control on this.
Perfect.
And it could be that, the problem with the attorney is, sometimes you got a 5-minute question, and they charge you for 15 minutes or a half hour. Whereas you could call them maybe every couple of days or once a week and combine questions and get the same bang for your buck, because whenever I call them, I always watch my phone, and if I got 8 minutes left, they're gonna spend 8 minutes on the phone with me, if it's questioning something, so, because they do charge by the 15-minute increment, I believe.
All right, so there's a motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? None? All right, that passes. I know it was voted on last week. I asked to have it on again with some emails that we've gotten since the vote about the locking of the municipal building. Some employees have reached out who are here the majority of the time and have asked that if the select board is going to decide to keep the doors unlocked, that we add security cameras more than that are already in there to monitor the area. Or possibly have the front door by the handicap entrance unlocked and the handicap entrance unlocked and leave this one locked, which I don't see any issue with that. So I don't know if we want to talk about it. Everybody has a copy of this email? There was some good points brought up from one of the emails. I think in the sake of safety that it should remain locked. I went to the town of Wells today, which is 15 times larger than here, and it was one-way entrance, one-way out.
I see that.
It was one-way entrance, one-way out. You had to park in front of the building and walk around. It was a lot.
It was designed as a municipal building, like Dr. Farron said last week. This is a school building that's been made over. It's kind of difficult to do it, but I voted in favor that we unlock the doors, and I feel bad that people work here. If they're not secure, that bothers me a little bit.
So maybe it's a compromise to lock this one and keep the other one open, and that kind of is a halfway, right? And that's, part of the reason having a board of 5, unfortunately, there was only 4 of us here last week. Some boards, you can't hold off town business, but, some crucial votes are put off until the full board is around. So I wouldn't be opposed to, I will make the motion that we keep the door locked closest to the select board office at all times, that the building is occupied, and keep the 2 doors unlocked at the other end of the building.
Second. All right, a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? All right, that passes. Paving bid, finished the vote from last week.
So you'll see in the minutes, we started the vote to do it, but we never finished it. So if you look back through the minutes, we need to finish that vote.
I make a motion, we put out the paving bids for town roadways immediately and have them due back no later than 5/5? That's, I thought we were gonna go last week, so
5/12?
we're gonna have to go to 5/12.
You can't now,
Yeah. Have them back, change that 5/5 to 5/12.
but it already went to the shopping guide.
It did?
Yeah.
And it says they have to be back by when?
On May 5th?
In the shopping guide?
Yeah.
You'll find it.
What's that?
Is it all right?
This is more of just a formality because we didn't finish voting on it, but it's already been
Well,
advertised.
it's already been, did we send it to anybody? Did we actually send the bid out to people?
Yeah.
Okay, so then we just didn't finish the vote from last week, is what you're saying? We never voted on it?
You started it, and it didn't.
It led into a
If
discussion.
somebody would look at the minutes, just to see, I think, I can't remember if there was a second, and it was just
I think Donald and I agreed on
Favor.
something and the whole world went crazy.
and I try to watch those things, and I missed it, so,
Do we know what roads we're gonna be tarring?
yep, Ricky got me the bid. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, John motioned. It doesn't, nobody seconded.
I think we just got talking about several other things.
So I changed my motion. I make a motion that we reaffirm the motion that was stated last week, that we go out to, put out to bid the paving of the town roads for 2025.
Second.
Are we gonna include what roads we're gonna do?
It's in the bid, right? It's in the bid and in the,
Where's the bid? Where's the specs?
Well, our road commissioner put it together, that's who
Well-
normally does it. Yeah,
And it was given last week to review, I'd assume.
I will send it to you.
Alicia will forward it over. All right, there is a motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? All right. Flags on Main Street, followed up with the flag waivers, waiting on a new quote due to some number discrepancies. And that is all I have for old business. For new business, we do need a liaison for the revitalization committee. Originally, it was Howard. He decided not to. Last week, it was discussed that I was going to take it. I am already the liaison to 3 departments, and I don't feel that it's fair to be on that committee, as I can already barely make time for the departments that I have. So, but we do need one, so I don't know if anybody wants to take it. I just don't think it's fair. Fair is not the right word. It's not fair to the revitalization committee themselves that if I'm the liaison, as I'm the liaison to the building advisory committee, and I can sometimes barely meet their meetings. I work an hour away. I change my schedule around a lot to make it for these meetings. But now that, building advisory committee and then adding the revitalization committee, if we meet, that's 3 meetings in a week that I have to take off from my day job that pays my mortgage. So I won't accept it. I'll say that. So I don't know if anybody else is willing to take it. Do we have to have a board liaison?
Well, I'm wondering, can everybody be that person and take turns?
I'll take it.
Okay. So,
I mean, if I can be it, I'll do it.
it's basically just if there's questions or issues.
I know, that's what.
Okay, so John will be the liaison for that.
Okay.
Unlocking a Boy Scout Island, we will need somebody new for this. So we'll have to advertise, or if anybody's
Pay for
in.
that?
What?
How much do we pay for that, do you know?
Was it like 100 a week?
I don't-
A month? It's a daily unlocking and locking. So it has
What
to be.
is that included in? Where do we do that?
Should be
It's
in the
Saturday
rec
and
budget.
Sunday too.
If it's not, that's where,
There's a
Bill?
guy.
Bill Fuzzy? A month, I'd say.
Okay.
Do you remember what
For-
department it came out of?
I don't know how we'd advertise that in a shopping guide.
I
Any
put it on
interested?
Facebook, on our Facebook site,
And it's 5 days a week, or it's 7 days a week.
7 days a week.
7 days a week. 7 days a week. No
7 days
benefits.
a week.
Steve will do it.
Steve, thank you.
Just thinking that.
Probably drives down there anyways.
Beautiful.
I think we paid for it out of special services. Down on the bottom. That's where it should have come out of.
I'll make sure that's where it's coming out of.
Was that?
I'll make sure I'm writing here right now.
And you said it was 200, when do we
200
start,
a month.
Memorial Day?
Yeah.
So it's June, July, August
To Columbus Day, I
to
think?
Columbus Day?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
So June, July, August, September.
I think there's $1,000.
I think there was $1,000 we paid for it.
Sounds right.
It has to be locked, right?
What's that?
It can't just be open.
Gotta get the movies
hate
out too,
people.
but, so, we're looking for somebody to work to do 7 days a week. They unlock it in the morning and lock it at night.
It's a good job for someone who has a summer camp who's up here all summer, or a
Yeah,
kid.
yeah, we've had young
Yeah.
adults do it before,
It's easy money.
so maybe we put it on Facebook that we're looking for somebody to do that. I mean, a school kid, if it's, where is it?
It's off Watson Hill, off of Holland Pond Road. No,
Just
North
past the
Shore Road.
laundromat, and go left.
I live on the road and I don't know where it is, so. Scout Island Road is where the access is. It's Holland Pond, yeah, okay, it is Holland
When is that
Pond.
open from, June?
And what, it opens at
Memorial Day? We need
7
to
a.m.?
make sure that they get the buoys out.
Yeah, that's what your assistant over there said.
We'll have to, before we advertise it, we'll have to review the sign that's down there. There's signs on, that says when it's open, when it's closed. I can review them. I'll go down tonight.
Before we put it.
Yeah, I think it says,
7 a.m. to, or sunrise to sunset,
Yeah,
or
or
it's
so- yeah.
7 a.m. to sunset.
Yeah.
It's something, or the park's closed from 9 p.m. It's weird. I'll go down and take a photo. I'll find the road.
Thank you.
It should be a fun adventure tonight. I'll never find it. I live on that road. Sign the supplemental tax certificate. So this is just... This is something every year? Or... Why is there so much stuff here? Valuation of estates, real and personal, liable to taxation in the municipality of Limerick for state, county, district, and municipal taxes for the year 2024 as existed on the first day of April of said year. It has a figure. You are to levy and collect the same of each one of his respective amount therein set down in the sum total of $1,396.50. I don't know.
Okay, so I believe.
Please.
She'll text me if I say this wrong. I think she said that there was it's a trailer that was on land that they've now moved, but it was there as of April 1st. But the couple that owned it have split, and I think that's why you see two. So the cost of, I don't think it's quite half, but
well, there's two of them.
yes, but
And it was, so, I think what it is, when you have, whoever owns the property as of April 1st gets the tax bill.
yes.
So I'm gonna guess that there was a mistake somehow. It says, we believe that you were the owner of the property on April 1st, so we are basically just making a change and moving it from, again, there's two of them. One, there's two that it looks like there were mistakes on, and the correct owner was not billed.
Okay.
So this allows us to bill the correct owner. One of them
One's an
is,
abatement, one's a supplement.
one's an abatement, one's an addition, so they offset. That requires us to do a supplemental tax, because the assessment, everything's changing.
Okay. We need a motion for that?
So I make a motion, we sign the supplemental tax certificate and the supplemental tax warrant.
I'll second that. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor? All right. So we will sign that after the meeting. Planning board member Peter Mahar would like the open seat. So I make a motion that we appoint Peter Mahar to the open seat on the planning board for the term to expire in March of 2026.
Anybody know where this guy lives?
Do we know, he doesn't, Alicia and I talked briefly about this. He doesn't live in Limerick, but as a planning board member, you do not have to live in Limerick. So,
You did look it up, it's accurate.
all right.
I believe he has a business in Limerick, he said. Does not live here, wants to, but doesn't.
All right, so there's a motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed?
I'm sorry, I was,
All those in favor of appointing Peter Marhar to the planning board? Opposed? All right. And then we have another one to sign from last week that was already voted and approved. And then I open it to hearing of citizens. Lisa?
Lisa LePage, Director of Historical Society. I just want to clarify one thing. The birthday party, 250 birthday party for Limerick, 50-year time capsule reveal. Yes, I'm the chairman for that position, and yes, I am Director of Historical Society. Two different identities. We are under Limerick Parks and Rec, nothing to do with the Historical Society. The Historical Society was asked to help, as well as the Research Committee, the Fire Department, the Masons are coming. So we are all under Greg Melhorn's control.
It's not a historical society event.
We're just a working member in there.
But the overhead is the rec.
The rec is in control, correct.
The rec's in the attic and the
goes through
historical
rec.
society is in the basement. Not
Money
basement.
spent,
but-
money saved, money brought in, goes through rec.
Perfect.
So, and just to say that, we have a meeting tomorrow night at 6 o'clock at the fire department, if you want some information. It's actually getting exciting, guys.
Is it tomorrow night or Wednesday?
What's tomorrow?
The 29th?
Oh, yeah, well, let's try Wednesday then.
Okay.
I
Wednesday
did-
the 30th.
Wednesday, 6, the fire department. But I'm up actually here for the Limerick Historical Society. Just reminder, May 17th is our large yearly event of, we have the craft fair. I have 2 tables left inside. I do have tables outside, able to rent. We have a plant sale, so as you're thinning out your spring bulbs, think about donating to the Historical Society. We could use them. We have the penny auction with multiple certificates from local businesses donating towards that. And we'll be putting on breakfast and lunch selling that. So, should be good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheryl?
Just a couple questions. I noticed Bernie noticed the 27 on the plowing contract, so that was all fixed. How long has it been since they write a new contract when you extend the contract?
So that was a motion that we made that night to...
Wouldn't that be the new contract go in for the next year for bidding? How can you change it midstream?
So it was a motion that was made that night by the board to do the changes that we talked about that night into this contract.
And that's within the policy? Where is the policy? That was thrown out in 2019 that they could do, you could extend it, but it has nothing to do with the contract. I just don't know where that, I'd like to have more information on where that came from. Just because you decided it.
I can try to get that back to you. I mean, I wasn't...
Okay.
Yep.
I will wait for it, thank you. Bernie said that we're not going to have the driveway done for a while, which I understand. The work that's being done on it now, where do those funds come out of?
The work that's being done on the...
Because he said there was only just so much on the paving, that, what was it, would you say, Alicia, 60,000? No. No, that
There's
was...
60,000
Yeah,
in that account.
60,000 in that account. Is that where the cost of what they're doing now? Where does that amount come
About the
from?
cleanup that's been going on? No, that's just normal ground maintenance.
So it comes out of the maintenance fund?
What's going on now is just normal ground maintenance, yeah.
Yeah, so we have a maintenance fund?
Building, yeah.
Building maintenance,
this
with the
building has-
painting, the whole,
has building
that's in
maintenance
there.
money,
Okay,
yeah.
very good. Disappointed with the unlocking. I came in today and the door was unlocked and I was just so thrilled. If you're gonna lock them and unlock them and lock them, you gotta put something out on that billboard. I mean, people think that they're all unlocked now and they're gonna come again, like me, and try to get in this one, and it's not gonna be unlocked.
Okay, I mean,
No,
I think we
happy.
can put a sign on the door.
The door you get to the door, it's gotta be on the billboard.
We put a sign on the door last time and it worked fine.
Yeah,
for
and
the-
people get to the door and you ought to have a microphone there waiting
Well-
to see to listen to what they're talking. I mean, it just very confusing, especially to the elderly.
It's been a week. I don't,
Yeah,
everybody
and
in
an
the...
enjoyable week too.
Okay, thank you, Cheryl. Anybody else? Yes. Charlie.
I'd like to talk about the paving that you're going to be doing in the future for the municipal building. Where's the money coming from, and how much do we have? Do we dare say before the bids go out?
So I think that's the figure that we've been throwing around, that's budgeted. We don't have an idea of what the total cost is going to be. That's what the request for bids are. Somebody jump in if I'm saying it wrong.
The request for proposal, Charles, is just to design the parking lot, and they give us a cost estimate of what it is. It's not to pave it. That goes out to bid.
But it's got to go out to bid.
Absolutely.
And when that does happen, when they come out and they do a site walk, I'm pretty sure they're going to do stormwater runoff, drains, everything. I was wondering if the fire department, the water sewer district, the road commissioner could all be involved with that site walk. They might want to put a hydrant out back in the future, who knows? But I think that ought to all go together. And if we don't have enough money to do it, how long will those plans be good for? Will they be good for 5 years?
The plans will be good.
So we don't have to spend another,
Yeah, if we don't have the money to do it, you put the plans back in the folder, and then you rebid it the next year. And I don't think they're going
We'll
to
have
be
to
back
vote.
by, they said that they couldn't, they would probably be February before they had the plans, you know, the construction drawings, and a rough estimate of what it was going to be. Well, it might be too late. You might have to hold a special town meeting for it.
but we don't want to do a $2 million job, I don't believe.
I don't think it's going to be a $2
You
million.
know, the whole building's got to be dug up, drainage around the building. There's a lot of work here.
There's a lot of work. Getting rid of the stormwater alone and permitting with the state
Right,
is
but
quite
the
a process.
I got up here for a couple of questions. When they cut the trees on that line over there, most of them trees are dead. They should all be cut. The tree on the very end is dead, the hemlock tree, or it's some kind of a green tree. But anyways, they all ought to be cut. I talked to Brad. He said he'd like to see them all cut too. And when they do this revitalization for the stormwater, I was wondering if we could pull all them stumps and put a row of trees up for Brad and the town. Whether it's a row of bushes or trees, but all them trees gotta go. If they cut all them trees that are marked, you're gonna have 3 or 4 trees left that, go look at them, they're all dead,
Well, the
every
fact
one
is,
of them.
the ones that aren't marked are still alive, and they're the hardwoods. They're not ash.
Have you looked at the tops of them?
Yeah,
They're still alive?
yeah.
Okay, leave them. It'll look nice with 3 trees there. That's it.
Thank you.
How you guys doing? Walter Ricker. As far as that door goes, being locked and unlocked, you guys probably remember Colebrook, right? When Kyle Drager went into the town hall shot the judge, a couple employees, and a state trooper. So the danger is real. Why don't you just put a camera out there over the door and put a buzzer system in? And whoever's working in there, they see who it is, they buzz it. If they don't want them in, they don't let them in. Right? Simple. Lock that door. Lock that door. Just like they have at the VFWs and the Legions and a lot of other bar rooms. Just a safety thing. It's not that hard to do. What do you guys think about the $10 transfer stickers? For drumming up a little more money to help cover that over there.
Last week it was 15.
Yeah, well, you can't go that route. You can't attach it to the property taxes, right? I found that out. But I think we could charge $10 and it would go a long ways to help balance that account out.
I will say, when I went down to get a transfer station sticker, I stopped at the ATM first because I assumed in the 2 towns that I've lived in previously that you had to pay for it. So I was expecting to pay for it, and I was pleasantly surprised that it was free. But I agree that, well, it may be a good, maybe not $10, maybe $5. I mean, there's a lot of people that use that dump, and I think $5 from every vehicle that has a sticker would I mean, it's a start.
Something. I mean, we just spent 80 grand in that, and we're gonna spend another 80 grand in a few years because the town's gonna grow and we're gonna need another compactor. So, better to be.
I think that would be a question to definitely involve Joanne in before we make any decisions, see what she thinks.
Do they expire, so you have to buy one in 5 years?
I know in Old Orchard Beach it was once a year. Yeah.
What'd you guys think of them impact fee ideas last week? I think we should have an impact fee of $1,000 for a single home, and if a developer's going to come in, they should pay $5,000 on each home.
So 1,000 on every home?
That's right.
No matter what?
That's right.
And 5,000 if
you're
it's
a
a
developer,
subdivision?
If you're a developer, that's right. If you're coming in. And the reason for that is because the single homeowner is going to stick around and pay us taxes. And the builder, he's going to come in and make hundreds of thousands of dollars.
What if a builder's
and leave
building
us.
one house?
What's that?
What if a builder's building a single house? Still $1,000?
That's right.
But it's 5,000 if they're doing a subdivision?
3 or more.
3 or more in a subdivision, so it's got to be a subdivision.
Right. And the handbook, the Maine State Planning Office, they got handbooks, and I've been trying to get a hold of them, but they're not answering the phone up there. It's something to read and give us an idea what those fees can be used for and what they can't be used for. But it's definitely going to help. I mean, we're paying 18 grand for every kid to go to school, right? So
17 and change.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to add up. So just one more thing, and I'm out of here. The tree contract. We spent money, and we had employees put this stuff out in the newspaper, and we spent money to have it done. And we had a couple of companies that did it right. And we awarded it to a company that, for some reason, did not do it right. I know you have the right to choose who you want, but if it was going to be allowed to have it emailed, then it should have been allowed for everybody to have it emailed. These guys took time out of their day. They run businesses. They went out, they looked the jobs over. They went home, they spent more time drumming up a price, and we just discarded them, and that's not right, Next time we look for bids, they might say, why bother? Just a thought.
I think in the hearing, citizens policy, it takes you more than 2 seconds.
Yep, Steve McLean. Any update, John, on the scenic view camera?
Not since the last time they were.
Seeing you guys, if you've been up there, seeing the hell that's been going on up there.
I have not.
Yeah, take a ride by.
At where?
The scenic view, that's all. the thing about the doors, I think you guys probably misunderstood there. Whatever night she's upstairs alone was the big concern, so I didn't know, if you locked that at 5 o'clock. I think there's one night the library's open late, and that was the biggest concern last week. You weren't here, so I don't know. Sometimes you want to redo that. So I am talking to the town's lawyer tomorrow because we have an appeal on the 6th, so you know.
Yep.
So I'm not going to get your permission. I've already talked to him. So, and the house across the street, the lady lived in there for 12 years. Now, what's to stop somebody from living in there right now? Can somebody live in there before they burn it down?
I don't think
I think that's up to the property owner.
I don't think you get an occupancy permit.
Okay. But did we didn't, somebody was in there
Someone
for
could
12...
squat it, someone could squat in there, I guess.
Okay, is that what the person that was in there was squatting? Because, we had condemned it after it burned.
It's never been condemned.
Never officially.
It's never been condemned, because this board has to vote. If we're going to condemn a house, you have to have public hearings, and you have to have the board vote on it. So it's never been condemned. She was I hate to call her the owner, but she was in
He was a
the
steward
house.
of the town.
She was, so yeah, anybody going there now, they'd be squatting, and it would be up to Stan to get them removed.
All right. Good.
Is there anyone else?
Manuel Page, excuse my voice, first day back to teaching this week. I agree with the concerns about locking the building. Just being mindful when you lock the building, just when it's publicly accessible building, you need to make sure your hours reflect that if it's locked. And that I think they were right, making sure that it's visible, because if it's listed as publicly accessible, if the stores are locked and not accessible, then you're going to have what you had before that, when people, if they're not allowed to enter the building, I think you're still going to be allowed to. And I do have concerns about the safety of employees and elected officials. We just want to make sure that our signage and our hours are listed, because that can be an issue when we know with today's day and age, people are testing those limits to make sure we're complying with that. And we don't want to be in the midst of that as well. That's it.
Thank you. All we did, just asking, last time when we locked them, we put the sign on the door and a Facebook announcement. I can't remember. I don't think we put it on the sign. It's
Been over a year and a half, so I don't remember exactly what we did.
Put a sign on the door. The door's locked at all times.
You just have to, there's a publicly, if
there's an hour, yeah.
you have to have it available.
Yep.
And I'm not saying because I don't agree with,
No, yeah.
It just, that's a regulation.
Of course.
Seeing this door is locked all the time, can you take that bulletin board over there? Because nobody's going to go out and look at that and put it back on this side.
Did you just remember that after a year and a half?
I guess based on some of the conversation we've had earlier surrounding the treasurer's office, and Julie spoke for a while, and Judy also spoke, I think we should make it clear that our concern is that this board is ultimately responsible for the finances of the town. Okay? That being said, we've certainly had some questions. I've had questions of the treasurer. I've tried to ask what I thought were just poignant treasurer questions, and the treasurer even mentioned tonight that people thought she was being harassed. If my comments and my questions were harassing, I'll apologize if somebody took them that way, but I was asking what I thought were poignant questions of the treasurer related to the town finances. The treasurer has said, she stood at the podium and said, within a year, she can fix the finances. She said, give her another year. That was your statement last week. Okay. She's made some strides to get some help in there. But I still have the concern that in the end, if there are issues with the finances, that it will fall on this board. So in order to give her the latitude she needs to do what she needs to do to fix the finances, and also, I'll say it, protect the board, I'd like to take a vote of no confidence in the treasurer and allow her to move on and run that department and work on the books so that if there is an issue, I don't want the townspeople coming back to us saying, you didn't do your job, okay? I think we're doing our job. I think we're trying to look out for the books, but clearly there's some consensus that there needs some more time. There might be some other issues. There might be some other things going on in the office. There's some concern that the stress of us questioning the books is causing more issues. So I make a motion, we take a vote of no confidence in the treasurer and allow her to move on in her office as she sees fit.
I'll second that vote. That motion. Any discussion?
I'm concerned that it's got to this point, but you think you're being harassed? Take a ride around town. Take a ride around town, get accosted at every store you go into. I know Howard and I have been on this board for 2 months, and this is our fault. I've had people come up and say, giving you guys 3 months to straighten out everything. It took longer than 3 months to get into this. It's gonna take longer than 3 months to get out. I don't mind bearing the brunt of it. That's the mantle I wore, or I'm wearing, because I took this job on. But it's difficult for us too, Julie.
Yes, sir.
And
I'm trying to alleviate it.
I know that, but people are looking at the finances. When you start looking at how the auditors almost double what we paid, and then with the help you get in there, how I cannot in good conscience stand up here and support spending any more money in that department until we start seeing some tangible results. And if it means, if we get to the end of the year, you get paid, you're required to get paid by law. However, your help in there isn't. Your help may end up going away if we start running tighter money.
And I just want to, with that being said, I mean, every one of us should, if there are any issues in that office that we can help with, we all should certainly step up and help any way we can. And I don't think that I mean, this doesn't mean that we're not going to continue to ask questions. This doesn't mean that we're not going to look at warrants and still sign the warrants and maybe not sign them on occasion or whatever. But I think it's just important that we kind of cover ourselves and at the same time do our due diligence and do what we have to do, but back off on maybe the nitty-gritty of, you know, when something comes up like this deposit that came up, yeah, I questioned it, and I'll be honest, I was shocked when I heard, like, we couldn't get a copy of a deposit in a week. That struck me as odd, okay? And, yeah, I did. I called the bank and asked why it was taking a week. And as Julie said, that's a complicated issue that even the bank is baffled at. So I know I've been vocal about some what I perceive to be negative aspects of that office, but there are some things. I think there are some problems with Trio as far as carrying over from year to year. I don't know enough to know that there's problems in the everyday operational stuff of 2025. I think that should be up to date by now, but that's just my opinion. I think that if a deposit was made in October and we're now just finding out about it, or we're now just researching it in April, that to me is a little long, but you know, I will say that for my part, I will let the office run as she sees fit. She's elected to do, and hopefully these things turn around, and within a year we're here talking and everything's balanced and looks good and everybody's happy. And I think, again, I want to be very, very, very clear that I don't believe anybody else has said there's anything wrong with our money. We don't believe there's a penny missing. We don't believe anybody's doing anything nefarious. We don't believe that's ever happened in the past, current. So it's just a matter of straightening out the books. But in the end, we're responsible for them. So therefore, I would like to just make it publicly known that as a board, we are questioning some things in that office, but we're going to let it move on and do their thing.
With that being
Sure.
said, I would like to also be able to come to you folks like I promised the first board when I'm finding something. And I've continue to do that, and I would like your permission to be able to.
You don't need it. We're happy when you do, yes, and for the most part, I think you've done a good job at that, and been, like you said earlier, calling the bank and getting the interest raised. That's given us $1,000 a month, and that's a great thing. But, I followed that up with, if the $400,000 was in there, we would have got $2,000 a month. But, and that's just, that's something we have to live with at this point. So there's no use to look back. I think we need to look forward and make sure that we'll give you the support you need. I don't know that I could,
right now.
I don't know that I could justify approving more money.
No.
But we got to see where it's going to go, and if it's creating the havoc in the whole building that seems to be creating, then maybe we back off, let that office do their thing, but basically cover our own selves by saying we're giving that office the latitude, and when hopefully this doesn't happen, but if things come crashing down, you're the one that's going to stand at the podium and take the brunt of it. So
The only thing that I can see coming in front of us right now is when we get our audit back, so we can get our tan. That's what I'm seeing, because that time is coming up on us soon. And watching it here, yes, we've got the money, so as last year, when Stephanie and I both told the board, halt your spending, and it still kept going. And we juggled money in there for 2 months before we got the grant money.
well, is the bank going to require, is the bank going to require the full audit done before they approve the TAN?
She's trying to work around it. The last I talked to Courtney, yes.
Okay, because we're going to run out of money before that happens.
Yes, sir.
So,
I will give her a touch base tomorrow, and Karen will have everything that I can give from them for the journal adjustments by Friday. But the biggest one is the fire barn and the water district, to get those 2 journal entries done. We got the biggest one because in my positions, I have never done the journals for what you asked me with the assessors. That was always done by the assessors, so that's why those figures can't be put in there till your commitment is done. I don't mean to raise my voice, but I'm lazy. I don't want to go over there. My back hurts. But for right now. But as soon as we get our commitment, those figures will be able to put into your budget. Now you're talking $6 million. They're up because you got your school, and your school won't be here till June. Your school, your tree growth, and all of the other...
County.
Yes, the county taxes and like that. Because that figure was $6 million. That was the first journal I gave Karen once I found out that's how it was entered prior to me coming. Because as I said, the assessor and even supplementals have to go through a journal entry.
but that's all 2025 stuff.
24s. So now we're talking 25, so as soon as your commitment comes, those figures will be in your budget. Hopefully, if I get the answers from Trio on this duplication, you'll have all your expenditures. That's the only thing it is off, is the process of journal. Anytime any of you gentlemen want to come in and see, or with Judy, I'm sure they will show you what they're doing. You can see how much time we wasted on the system being slow. I've been told that the corporate office is working on it. That's all I can go by, but it is very, very slow. I'm not making excuses. And anybody that can help Laura May with the way the money is moving for the fire department, I gave that to her because that's her history. I I don't know where the money came from and went to, and so she's doing that. I figured that was the best bang for the buck, is let somebody do it that knew what they were doing.
Well, if she has any, I mean, she asked me the other day 4 or 5 items, and
Right.
I think I gave her, I hope I gave her the right answers. I think I did, but if she has more,
I will
Vinny,
have to
Vinny
come
was,
back in.
Vinny was very up to all those numbers. I'm pretty strong on those numbers, so be happy to sit with her. If she's got any questions, make the call. I'll come in,
Okay.
Vinny will come in,
Thank you very much.
whatever we need to do.
But that's the biggest piece of the adjustments to go to the auditors. Otherwise, they've got everything, as Judy stated. Karen's been working on your foreclosed properties and doing all of that. Judy said all of that to her. And as far as going in the future, foreclosed properties is supposed to be handled by, once it's foreclosed, it goes to the selectman's representative, and they've always done the journal entries and everything in the prior. So this is new to me taking over, and Judy will show me, and, you know, we'll go for the next budget, because I mean, that's probably just as many more to sell.
Well, we're not selling anything until we get the current ones ironed out, so
Thank you very
we're not gonna add any to that, other than
Okay, thank you.
the more building, but that's pretty simple.
Right.
That money just goes into the capital reserve account, and that's it.
I understand what you gotta do.
And then, you know, I think we just need to get 24 wrapped up, so we can get in place to get the tan, and hopefully,
I'll give Courtney a call tomorrow and see where we are.
Before we take that vote, when is the audit report due back?
they haven't given us a
Like you
date.
said, I mean, normally a good year, June, we get it back, a completed report. He said that, I think last time he was here, it's June, but we don't.
I'm concerned about how things are going, but we've gone on record tonight stating we're not happy. Okay? I understand why you want to take the vote of no confidence.
Yeah.
And I'm 50-50 right now. The problem is, I'd like to see if the auditors come back in a month or so and we revisit this and see just what it is. Maybe it was a problem with Trio. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what more we can do. We've gone on record stating we're not happy with how the books are.
And I just think we as a board, we're at a point where we really can't go any further. Like, what more can we do? We'll assist her, we'll give her all the help we can get, but at some point, the pressure of getting this, although it's our responsibility, we do have an elected treasurer. We're only as good as the numbers and things that we're given, and we're not getting them. So,
we're not, and it's, I
and,
mean,
and so,
I understand.
and it's not, it's waiting, to me, waiting another month is, you know, we don't know, I don't think this is gonna happen, we could run out of money in the next month. I don't think we're gonna, but I don't want to have a disaster happen and have this room full of people screaming at us before we say, look,
Someone's screaming at us every day.
I look back at a couple months ago and we had someone from the budget committee, you know, asking us questions, and we said, well, we think, you know, the report, and she was like, at the end of the day, it's our responsibility. The checkbook, the bank account, the money going out, the money coming in, yes, we have an elected treasurer, but it is the select board.
Yeah, we got chastised. The first meeting, 2 of us are on the board. We got chastised like we were still in the 3rd grade in this room years ago.
But you know,
I see the hands just
I don't know anything about your budget, so.
but you know, there's one thing that's never been brought up here. There's something wrong with that computer system.
Yes, definitely.
Okay? If you had a problem back in 2021, and it hasn't been taken care of up till now, and that's the same time that we switch, you wait a minute. When you switch around, when they switched that system around to going online, they even admitted they had a problem. I sat in here the other night, and I asked Julie for a printout, something. You wouldn't believe how long it took. And actually, I said, to hell with it, don't worry about it. Because the system just was, it was just like a mouse in a cage. Nothing was coming out.
Have you?
It was ridiculous.
Have you read the audits and the management letters along with them going back to 2021?
Yes,
No. But you know something?
But that, they...
I see you, I'm letting them talk.
If the problem goes back to 2021, okay, Laura's been, so 2021, 2022, 2023, and starting in 2024, we had the same treasurer, okay? Laura never stood at that podium and said, my God, we got horrible trio issues, okay?
Well...
The issues that the auditor is talking about, and if you read his management letters, which go out, and if you look at the form I had to fill out for the insurance company today said, have you received any management letters with your audit? I had to check yes. Well, almost every town gets them. And they mostly refer to procedural things that they'd like to see done differently. But it didn't change the numbers. We didn't have funds way out of balance and books way out of balance since 2021, okay?
But he's the same auditor we've had all along here.
Yeah.
And he sat right in here the other night, and he didn't mention one damn thing about those books, other than the fact that we had these audits and stuff gonna come down the road. You know, for us to throw her under the bus is not right, because we have got internal problems with that computer, and I'll put money on it. And until that's fixed, we're not gonna get any solid figures here. John, you know it just as well as I do.
So what's the answer?
Fix the damn system. Get Trio in here.
Okay. So let's get Trio in here. But in the meantime, are you willing to stand behind the books? I'll ask you a question. If somebody steps up and says, how do you feel about the books of the town?
I have my questions,
okay.
But I'm not going to throw somebody under the bus because of something that she may not be responsible
we're
for,
actually
John.
doing the exact opposite. We're not throwing anybody under the bus. We're giving her the latitude. We're giving her the latitude to run the department and run the books and do her thing. Is that throwing her under the bus? Do you feel like that's throwing you under the bus?
I do.
Way she's been treated? Are you kidding me?
I'm talking about what's going on right now.
I had my hand up there just yelling out. I had my hand up there yelling out.
Cheryl had her hand up. She had her hand up way before you, yeah. So, Cheryl.
From what I've been hearing all around, Judy said there's been problems with the trio for years. I think we've got a problem with the auditor. From what I've gathered, you guys have had that auditor for a long time. You ever thought maybe the problem's there? Don't know, just questioning. We've had grants come in for the water district, we've had grants come in for the fire department, and they didn't come in, so the town has had to juggle this and back and forth, and finally the money comes in, but the money has to come out of our coffers to get, it's a mess. I don't think it's just one treasurer trying to get ahead of something. It's the computers, it's the grants, it's the, like I say, anybody checked into the auditors? How long has it been going on that you've been having this problem? Maybe a different firm or something? I don't know. I'm just saying there's a lot of pieces in this puzzle that aren't fitting. And it needs to be, rather than badgering somebody and it's, my mama always said it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And you can say things politely.
You should look in the mirror.
I'm not.
You should look in the mirror.
I'm not. You want me to get really wound? No. You've never seen me wound, John. I'm doing politely, giving my suggestions, what I feel, what I've been hearing all this time. No, you've never, forget that one, John. But I think something has to look into it and not just ostracize one person or one department or whatever. Everybody's trying to do their job, but is it a fit? And I think the computers, from what Judy was talking about tonight, is a place to start. I don't know what the old system was. It seemed to work fine. Don't know. Just my observation.
We have a $8 million budget, seven plus, almost 8. How many companies run, that's not a very big budget. How many companies run an $8 million budget through QuickBooks? Through very simple.
Well, maybe we ought to go to
maybe we
QuickBooks.
should.
Maybe we ought to go to something
maybe
simple.
The system is too complicated.
Yeah,
I don't
whatever.
know, but this shouldn't be that complicated. I mean, we're talking $8 million, right, over the course of a year. It's not $100 million, it's not, money comes in and money goes out. It's adding and subtracting. It's just a matter of adding it when it comes in, subtracting when it goes out, and put it in the right place in the middle.
But if the computer
if
is not doing it the way it's supposed to be as you're entering it, and there's something screwed up
you know
in
what?
there, that needs to be changed.
I'm going to get called out for this, okay? I'm going to get called over, but I'm going to say it anyways. Here are the warrants for this week, okay? One of our fire trucks went down to Merrill's and got diesel, okay? Everybody here is a smart person. What account would you charge that diesel to? We have a gas and diesel account for the fire trucks. Should that be charged to the gas and diesel account?
Those are pre-coded by Vinnie. And here's a spreadsheet to go by every week with the bills. You don't have it there, John, but it's in the office.
There's no coding on the bill.
No, because Laura would have taken it off of the sheet that Vinnie sends with them.
All right, so, all right. So let's say any layperson got a bill that says diesel on it, and you're the accountant. You are the treasurer or the treasurer's helper with 18, 19, 20, 40 years experience. I would put that, if I see a bill that says diesel, I'd put it towards the gas and diesel account.
Not if the department head had quoted it someplace else.
No,
You've got
it's not.
nothing.
Well, it's here. It's in there.
See what it is. He's usually pretty meticulous.
No, he is, really.
He's usually pretty meticulous on what he puts down. The trouble with, the thing we're running into, Cheryl, is we all have responsibilities. She is ultimately responsible for the finances of the town.
I agree.
And we are responsible.
Okay.
That's the problem.
But I'm saying computers are not perfect. There is something in that system
I
that
agree
has
with
got
that.
to be QuickBooks. Let's change over to QuickBooks if it's supposed to be that. I'm just saying it's not. It's something deeper. I looked over the warrants. I look over them every week, and there's a lot of the stuff in there that I don't agree with the billing, but whatever. That's the way the department bills it.
One of the reasons that TRIO was put in because the state had it.
So the state's supposed to be so
And
special.
It's because of Judy and
She don't like
how
it.
she reports things. Well,
I don't think she
years ago,
I don't think
wasn't-
she can register cars without it, right?
Well, 2 years ago, wasn't there a big push for the Trio Web from, I don't know what department it was from, but
Everybody.
I remember there was a big push from what we were to Trio Web, and then we switched to Trio Web, and somehow the select board is
There's something.
the bad guy.
No, there's something within that needs to be checked. I mean, it's just not all.
I just want to see the paper when it comes in.
You're in the middle of a room.
Discussion.
It's just discussion.
People,
That's fine. I think the discussion is more.
I think it's a great, we're also in hearing a citizen, so that's why I allowed it. But I don't.
Responding to somebody else's response. I just wanted, in a manner that most of the people who've objected to questioning a treasurer have come up here multiple times questioning other people about spending, etc. I just want to remind people that it's really more about the transparency of money. And I think that's the biggest thing. I think as a regular citizen in town, unless it was brought to our attention, we were unaware of some accounting issues. I think there are probably multiple variables that have been brought up. I think not everybody, when there's new computer systems, there is the potential for maybe certain variables to be in there. I think there's multiple things taking effect at this point. I think I'm hearing some repetition of what potentially happened in the past, which is concerning in a past town, and I think that's what's captured our interest. When you're talking about transparency and money, I think everybody in here is concerned about the raising of taxes and taxpayer money. I think if anybody has been, you can't tell somebody how they feel. She very may well feel that she's being harassed, just like you guys are supposed to fix everything in a day, in a week. People who take out a citizen's petition have that right to do so. Yeah, that's wrong. You have a right to question those elected officials. It's a question. It's transparency with your money. There is a great concern. And all we can do is move forward. What are the actual concerns? Blaming it just on a computer system? Blaming it just on not knowing? That's an issue. I think we need to very clearly label out and spread that information. This is an issue that a lot of people have a genuine concern in. And instead of bringing us together to work together, it's tearing people apart. People are being nasty, being mean, blaming. It's everybody else's problem. It's everybody else's fault. You have a right. At the end of the day, it's your responsibility. Who's the overseer of these elected officials? I know people have debated having a town manager. People have debated, but we don't have, there's checks and balances. Where is that and be all at the end of the day? We don't have one because you can vote no confidence, but at the end of the day, there is not a checks and balances where all of these things come in unless you bring in extra help. And you're right, I'm not the most educated person on everything. You know, a little bit, I try to educate myself, but when I'm hearing it third, fourth hand, it's concerning when it's our money. And that's when you have citizens concerned. And when we don't have answers, or it's defensive, and you're telling citizens they can't be concerned about it, that's when you're going to get this response. You're going to get this response when you have somebody who is not just acknowledging these are the issues. And I think everybody needs to work together. Here's where the problem lies. It's clearly not just a computer. That sounds, no offense. I thought I was a technology age. It's not. My kid is telling me how to do stuff. She's 8. There's multiple variables. We need to get to the bottom of it. But if you don't feel comfortable taking responsibility for that, the buck ends with you because we don't have somebody at the end of the day. And I would, if I don't know who else has the accountability, I'd say it's on you guys. You sign the warrants at the end of the day. You're right, I would hold you guys accountable. I only know about it. Most people don't even know about certain issues that are happening. And when I hear it, I might be mistaken because I can say I might not know. But this isn't the first issue that's happened. And we obviously want some transparency. You can't immediately get defensive. When you take a public position, regardless, you have to understand that may come. All people want is transparency. Citizens have the right to question. But I would like to move forward. I think everybody wants to move forward. If you don't feel comfortable, hold it like with how things are going, just like citizens don't feel comfortable. It's okay if you're friends. Let's move forward. How do we move forward and make this okay? Because right now this isn't okay. But citizens have the right for transparency and answers without defensiveness from anybody. When you're an elected official, we have a right to question you. We have a right to petition without being chastised. That is a right. But you also you need to answer for yourself. So identify the problems. It's not just a computer system. Like, that's what my middle schoolers use for excuses. I don't want to hear that. That might be part of the problem, but there's other issues too. So let's acknowledge it. Stop saying, we'll get more money, we'll get more money. You're starting to give me an anxiety attack over here. Find out where the root of the issues are. Let people have some transparency and ask questions without people being on the attack. And not take everything so, offensive. You can be questioned. So where do we go from here? If they want to take a vote with no confidence, they're saying, I don't agree, I'm not taking personal responsibility. Honestly, I would feel in the hot seat too. You put yourself in that position. Everybody did, by being an elected official or an employee of the town. Everybody's entitled to their feelings. How can we move forward? It's just when we just need to allow transparency, take accountability, and how can we go on? Because this is not it. We all have a voice, we all want to be heard, we all want to be respected. But we also need this information out to other people in town. It can't be the same 25 people or 10 people on Facebook or whatever. And people have a right to value other people's opinions without being nasty about it. Thank you for your time.
The entered wrong. So this is the receipt that Vinny gives in.
This is what I go,
So
she goes by the...
1501-1042. Is
Hi,
this
Howard.
wrong?
How you doing?
15...
You all ready to listen?
I'm working on a complaint that we got brought
Okay,
up.
well, I'm going to tell you anyway. I don't believe you should have a vote of no confidence until you're absolutely sure of what you're doing. You got a computer that could be not working properly. My husband was a member of EMA for many, many years. Back in 2018, there was a big storm here. They worked and worked for 2 years to finally get money back on that. And it did take 2 full years. And just this past weekend, he was at EMA talking with people, and that same program is still not working. And that's a federal government program. So it's very possible the state government program is not working. And if you do have a vote of no confidence, that is not going to clear the 5 of you in any way. Because everybody is still going to blame the 5 of you, just as they would without it. So don't think that's going to get you off the hook. You don't know that Julie has done anything wrong, and until you do, there's no reason to blame her. She's doing the best she can with a problem that, according to Judy, apparently sucks. And I think you better find out what's going on with the program before you start blaming the people. That's all I got to say.
The trouble is, Kathy, she's in the same position we are. She has responsibilities, and she's trying, and they're not being met. Obviously, we're trying, and they're not being met.
Okay, but this vote of no confidence is not going to correct a thing. That's not going to help the problem whatsoever.
It just puts things in perspective.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does. It puts things in perspective. We have to take a stand to show we've taken some action. We've been questioned that we're not
Take
taking
some
any
action
action.
on finding out what's wrong with the computer system. Maybe your person running the computer knows exactly what she's doing, and the computer system is putting stuff where it doesn't belong. Judy told me months ago that when she entered information, it put it where it wanted to instead of where she wanted it.
Because we don't know where it's attached to. We don't see the inner workings of the coding.
Well, if you don't know where it's going, we don't know where it's going.
No,
Yet
that's
we're,
fine. We can- that's what
we're getting chastised for it more than you are, Julie. Trust me.
I'll take that for great
Well-
But it's not her fault.
Chastised, okay?
Well,
And I don't want to be.
I understand that. I understand that, but we have
But
no
it's still
control
not
over
her
what the
fault that
posting
it's
goes on
happening.
in there, and we get it left and right,
See,
day in,
that's why
day
I
out.
don't play that game with them. I'm not on it, and I won't be.
I'm not on it either. You can't even go out and get a cup of coffee, somebody jumps on you. Why was this payment wrong? Why was that wrong? So I think the only way we have,
But the money is not missing.
No, it's not
People don't
missing.
understand that. Every
How many
time
times
you
has
guys
that been
start
said from this
talking
board?
about that.
How many times from this board, how many times can this board say that? I said it a half an hour ago.
But you
I've said it for a year.
I know
We
you
don't
have.
believe there is one penny missing.
I know you have.
Yes, all right.
But when you start reading all that crap on Facebook and people say the money is missing.
You can't believe
it's
Facebook
not
either.
missing. We've never accused anybody of having
No, I
any
know
missing
you
money.
haven't, but it does say that.
Well,
And that's why people get upset. Because they believe there's money missing.
I think people said there are issues with transparency and how the accounting is being done.
Sometimes that's what they say,
So
but
that's
there
the
have
thing that we
also
were going
been,
back and forth with was the transparency and the lack of communication.
not every time, there's
Then show
been
me
many,
the
many
post.
things said on there about money
That
missing.
money's missing.
Back up what you said.
Correct. No money is
All right.
I'm done.
Thank you. Steve.
Just back up what you say. Back up what you say.
Steve McLean. Each of you guys have a department or 2 departments that you guys oversee, okay? Who has the treasurer?
As of 3 weeks ago, it's me.
Okay. Why doesn't everything flow through you to the treasurer instead of having 5 people at her window, it sounds like, every day somebody asking for this? Why don't we streamline that, okay? Does 5 of you go up and tell Judy, you see what I'm saying? It should be
No,
one
I
person.
don't, because I think any of us can go in at any time to any department head that we want. I mean, if if Julie only can come through me to get to the other board members.
No, if she wants to reach out to the other board members, but I'm saying it sounds like every day
So
there's
if the other
something
board
else.
members want to reach out to her, they come through me?
That's what should happen.
No, I'm not the
so
town.
why are you
I'm
in
not
charge
the town
of the
manager.
treasurer?
I'm not the town manager.
Well, that's not being the town manager. You each picked a department to represent, to talk, to go through. It just seems like there's so much stuff going on there every day.
Well, ask the road commissioner, how many selectmen do you speak to in a week? How many selectmen do you speak to in a week?
All of you.
Okay.
I don't think everybody, how many times have I been in there to badger you? Other than to get my pay or,
Just one time, you came, really the one time you came back and apologized.
well.
Well, I'm just saying, with all the
I
stuff going on.
I just don't think that's
The
feasible.
warrants went out.
I don't think that's feasible.
I was wrong, and I mean, other than that, I don't badger you. I don't think anybody goes in there and badgers her. We just need to set the bar that we have tried to take some action, and I think this is the only way it's gonna happen. Sorry, that's just my feeling.
All right.
And I'm going to just say one thing. So who am I upsetting? You want to go home? Who's grunting? This is a vote for us, not against Julie. So nothing happens, Julie comes to work tomorrow and does her thing. She does it with less interference and we're basically all agreeing that unless she reaches us out and is looking for some help, unless we see something egregious, and I think we will still have every right to ask questions, but I think it's not a negative vote against Julie. It is a vote for us.
That's
So,
bullshit.
nice talk to the public meeting.
Just stating
I know
fact.
when we call in Trump, it didn't do a thing, he's still perfect.
I'm sorry. Right here, I have a bill that just come, and I'm repaying it. I just got it coded. I sent it over and asked for it to be coded. It came back. I gave it to your second chief. I can't remember his name. Jared, thank you. And he took it over and brought it back to be coded. It'll be paid next week. But this bill goes back to January of '25.
Did we just get these diesel bills too that we were just talking about?
What's it
Has the
for?
date-
He brought those over this morning.
What's the bill for?
That's your contract item of labor and materials to seal Limerick Fire Station apparatus base concrete floor
Floor.
with 2 coats of sealer.
Yeah.
It was $6,300. They took off a landscaping credit of $1,311 and change, so it's almost $5,000 bill.
And what's the date on the bill?
January 19th of '25.
And you just got it today?
Just got it back coded today.
Yeah, it should.
And I've sent over some Mathesons, and those came back, and nothing was written on them, no purchase orders or anything, so those are going back over. I'm not pointing fingers, but that's fair.
I think you should date stamp stuff when you get it and say, this is the date I got it. And if somebody had it on their desk for 3 months, if somebody had it on their desk for 3 months, then
Okay,
that's certainly not on you.
okay. Can do that. No problem.
All right.
Sorry, it's running.
Nope, it's okay. All those in favor of the vote of no confidence? All those opposed? All right. Is there anything else for hearing of citizens?
Will that be addressed and helped with the purchase order policy, though?
It goes back to the first.
Will that help, though, with the change in purchase order policy and things like that?
Sure.
That wouldn't come under that. That,
Well, that's what I mean, like,
I'm saying, I still think you should stamp it when you get it.
so, but that's what I'm asking.
Not that it means anything, but when did they seal the floor? Wasn't in January. What? It was before January that they sealed the floor?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay. I thought it was,
I think it was October.
oh,
It was cold when they had to leave the doors open, but not that cold.
yeah.
And then sent back to the fire department?
I think somebody probably held it, who knows?
I was just wondering if the protocol of giving bills, receiving bills, all of that, is that in our protocols?
May I have the floor?
Not done, that was another question.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, good night, Ken.
Jerry Gilpatrick, lifetime resident of the town of Limerick. When the meeting opened tonight, there was a discussion of commingling the Historical Society with the Rec Committee. With all this budget talk, that makes me very nervous. I would hope that this Board of Select Persons move not to allow the Historical Society to commingle finances with the Historical Society. Thank you.
No.
Wait a minute, can Lisa address that?
Yeah, I think Lisa, if you want to address that, I still think there's some confusion on, it's for one event from the rec, but if you have anything.
I just happen to be blessed with chairman for the event, birthday party, time capsule, under rec. Rec is in charge.
And all funds that come in for that department, if anybody makes a donation, it'll make to the town of Limerick rec department donation. It doesn't go to the historical society, then come back, so.
And the other historical budget
And
is
if the
going in.
historical society,
It wasn't made clear at the presentation.
if the historical society wants to make a donation, then they'll write their check out to the Limerick rec department.
Very good.
And that way we're covered for insurance anyways.
But didn't we put the,
Well, anything going is gonna come out of your office.
Yeah, no, but we still gotta have a
Yeah.
You're gonna make a count with, rec donation. That's what
I think we already have one. We didn't make another one. I think we have one.
The donation.
We have one, I think.
so if I'm correct then, we've got the Historical Society and the rec. If there's any profits out of that, where does it go?
It's a rec department event, so the rec.
So, umbrella rec. The fire, the committee, the birthday, we'll say the event committee, pretty much everything's gonna be free, Howard. We are selling calendars to buy the items for the community for the day. Pretty much, we got the balloons, the popcorn, cotton candy are being donated, free. We have, the research club is doing a bake sale. They will keep that money. That's their bake sale. We have, I want to say Corona ice, shaved ice?
Corona.
They're coming. I'll take a Corona right now.
I'll be there.
They're coming. That's the only food truck we're doing, and going to be offering shaved ice. They will get that money. They're not saying we have to guarantee them $500. None of that. Whatever money they make, they keep. The Historical Society is cooking hot dogs, hamburgers, the meals for the day. Limerick Historical Society will keep that money. We have a rodeo bike coalition coming, free. We have the craft fair that Gail's not there. Sorry, a little slow. Gail Libby is in charge of the craft fair that's going to be at the Brick Town House. That money will go back to the rec. The money we sell on the, and not 100% everything's there, but the calendars will go back to the rec. We're thinking about doing like water bottles as a souvenir. We'll go back to the rec because in October, we have a second event of the fire truck pull to raise money for replenishing that old fire
So
truck.
stop me before I go too far. If this event is basically a Halloween on Main Street, the Historical Society, if they sell hot dogs, the money goes to the Historical Society. But if somebody makes a donation to better the Halloween on Main Street, it goes to the rec department.
Correct.
Okay.
And the whole point is to hopefully we'll be able to do the fire truck pull down at the ball field in October during Fire Week. But we have a smokehouse coming, we have demolitions coming, free for the community, for the kids in the community, because it's expensive. That's why we chose not to do food trucks. Food trucks are very expensive to have them come in.
The cutting up of the cars is for the fire department too, because that's
Where,
fun.
I hate to throw a wrench into this, but where's the Kona ice truck?
Yes.
Where will they be set up?
We are taking over Main School Street, and we'll have everything's back there.
I don't believe we have an ordinance for food trucks.
What does that mean?
Well, I think if they want to come set up there, they can.
Okay, thank you.
But they can't put anything out saying that they're there for us, because we have a strong policy of outside businesses that make profit.
Right.
Can't profit off the back of the town. Whether it's using the brick town hall, we've been through that twice. So if we're gonna bring in a food truck, put them on somebody's parking lot driveway,
Well-
Charlie's yard, somewhere
He's
else
offered
other
us-
than.
he's offered us part of his property.
And if,
We're going to put the dunk tank over on his property.
free
beer. Free Corona.
and if a taco truck gets word of it and they wanna set up, we can't stop them.
Well, they don't have any place to set up.
I'm just saying, because we don't have an ordinance on it, but I don't think, we can't invite one. We can't invite one and have them be profitable off a town event, because we've gone through this more than once.
Well, they'd have to find their own space to park.
Yeah.
And
Let them, yeah, I don't think they're gonna be running to come to
But
Limerick that day,
that,
but yeah.
our goal, the committee's goal for this event is to make it a community family day that people can afford to go and have a great time.
Any public vendor selling food out of a truck, if it's Parks and Rec or if it's historical, whatever the organization is that is responsible, they need to make sure that that vendor has the proper DHHS license to sell to the public. And that vehicle is.
Correct.
That organization, like I say, Parks and Rec or historical, like whoever is taking the ball, better make sure that they see the documents, that food vehicle is.
And you'll see their license
Safe
on
and
their
secure.
truck. They have their license.
So it's under Parks and Rec, and they have the insurance, so that's right.
Yeah. So, right. So not everybody's making a profit, is what we're trying to say. It is trying to give back to our town.
Is there anyone else?
Say one thing.
Yeah.
So that bill from Vinnie was Great Falls. They knew. He knew. They were waiting for adjustments for the plantings. So it wasn't a late bill. It was a bill he was working with Great Falls on till the end.
Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be-
Just for the record, so that bill that she got, that's 4 months late, is not part of the treasurer's problem this time.
No, did you just hear what Alicia
I
said?
just heard what she said, but I just want to be up here to say that. 'Cause-
Alicia said it into the microphone, so.
Yes, and I'm saying it in the microphone again, because the way it was read, people can see that and say, oh boy, here's another one, 4 months late, she didn't pay, but fact is, she just got it today. So, you got 2 hours to pay it.
beat each week. Is there anybody else? With that, I look for a motion to adjourn.
Already made it.
I second that motion. All those in favor? Thank you. I need the Corona truck out back.